Alex Hormozi and Gary Vee have created a legacy through their social media platforms. But what is it that made them successful with this process? Was it nose strips, swearing?
Do I give a about my employees more than do I care about my employees?
Or was it the person behind the camera? I sat down and spoke with Alexis, who is the creative director to a $1 million a month entrepreneur, Chidester, who is also friends with Alex Hormozi and Gary Vee. Now, there are a couple of tricks and hacks that these guys use to creating better content. Alexis goes into them, but he also goes into a lot of problems that videographers face with earning more money and shows you a clear pathway of how to make $7,000 to $10,000 a month. So let's get into it. Thanks for coming on, dude. It's funny when you meet someone. I literally spoke to Gentry about this. It's like you're the same, but there's something different because you're so used to seeing like the two-dimensional version of them. Right. Like, what the fuck?
Yeah. I feel like I know you. I feel like I went through the hurricane with you, like because you were documenting everything.
True. Yeah. Well, I've got a like a proper video coming out soon. Like we want to improve our storytelling abilities, and it's fun.
I'm sure it's a lot of footage though, right? You got to go through
a lot of footage, but we're also we're testing out. I want to make sure that it's more about a story. So like if I'm talking through some events, like I'll reenact it in a way that you don't realize, because otherwise it's just like it's real, disconjointed, and it's just like the viewer goes, meh, whatever.
You should, whenever it's done, you should submit it to Fort Myers Film Festival. And they got one in Naples too, I think. Naples Film Festival.
Interesting. I was just going to YouTube it.
You could do that too.
Can you still submit it after that?
I don't know how it works, dude.
Yeah, because some of those are like funny. They're like, it can't have been seen before.
Oh, I don't know. I just think it would be good like publicity for you and stuff like that.
Okay.
So
I'll look into that for sure. Yeah. But so for anyone listening, Alexis.
Yes.
Did I slide in your DMs? I think I slid in your DMs.
Yeah. It's funny when people say that it's like a sexual undertone, so it caught me off guard.
Really?
Yes.
Sorry. Well, there's no sexual intention. I promise. I always use that terminology, but you're right. It's like Netflix and chill.
Exactly. But it's like, did we Netflix and chill, dude?
Yeah. I think we didn't chill. But so let people know what it is you do. And I mean, we'll just shoot the shit and see where it goes.
All right, yeah. So my name is Alexis Terran. I do video marketing, video coaching, video strategist, everything video marketing related. So that's one aspect, and then the other aspect, I coach videographers on how to make their passion into an actual business. So
it's a big thing.
Yeah.
One thing you posted the other day, which was so true, because I had the same advice, which shifted my shit from a friend of mine 6 months earlier. It's most people are chasing everything, and they end up collecting a shitload of peanuts instead of, I guess, the nut tree.
Right. Yeah. That especially happens in like freelancing, right? Like. I can only speak for video, but like when you're doing video and you're freelancing, you're kind of getting all these different gigs. You do a wedding one day, a music video one day, you do like a, whatever brand, blah, blah. But at the end of it, you haven't really, you made money, but you haven't really built anything. Like you haven't really built an actual sustaining business. You're still like hustling, which is fine, right? But then like 10, 20 years down the road, you're going to look up and you're still hustling. And it's like, nobody wants to be 60 years old still freelancing. So
yeah, doing the rat race,
right. So I try to help people get out of that. And it's baby steps, right? There's like levels to all of it, but like if I can get you to step one, then I feel like if you can usually get to step one, you usually like just think about like when you go to the gym, dude. It's like just get to the gym. Once you're there, like everything else falls into place.
Yeah. So, because I noticed from personal experience, I mean, doing vlogs, for example, for me, I loved the storytelling part.
Right.
But obviously when there's no money coming in from that, you lose the passion to a degree.
Right.
And then when I moved here, the reset.
Yeah.
For like, you know what, I'm going to just double down on video.
Yeah.
And the funniest thing that I noticed this big shift for me was, again, my friend he used to make 200, 300K a month with his production company. It was just him and one other dude.
It's nice.
And his thing goes to me, he goes, dude, you're charging too cheap.
Yeah.
And no joke, I doubled my price. And now I was like, it was this relief. It was like, I got the same amount of no's. But now when I got a yes, I was like, oh crap, I'm literally making double.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden my stress was gone. It was more fun, you know, I could scale.
Yeah.
What's the biggest block you think for videographers
not
with
knowing their
charging
worth?
more?
Yeah. They don't know their worth. Like, and I've like, I don't know if this kind of like what you dealt with, but I dealt with this. Like, I was always like, I'm like, are people really gonna pay me this much money for a video? Because like, I don't know, I just didn't see it, and because I looked at videos like a hobby. So to make any amount of money was like a win for me. So, you know, I used to calculate like, if they pay me $200 for this, I'm like, oh, that's great. Like, I make so-and-so at my job. So I'm like, okay. So that's how we like rationalize it. But like, I don't know, video is valuable, dude. Like, it helps all different, it helps all different forms of the business, right? Like, when people put up like a damn infograph or something, I'm like, I'm not reading that shit, dude. Like,
right past it.
but if it's like a video and it's quick to the point and it's well produced, well executed, story's good, the delivery's like, I'll watch that shit. Like, so I think creators just kind of need to like know their worth, which everyone says, and it's like cheesy, but I don't know. That's pretty much it. That's how it starts.
Yeah, definitely as well. I think the tricky thing too is, I mean, with weddings, I guess people can understand that because it's like there's no real outcome other than you're seeing someone go, wow, I look pretty on my day. It's a very easy, like to charge more for that. It's a lot easier because there's no risk. But the biggest thing for me with the business side of it is people want to see an ROI.
Yeah.
And with video, especially starting out, it's hard because you're like, well, I know that it's a long-term game. You know, and I did a post a while which ended up really solidifying with my current clients. I was like, I invested the equivalent of 20 grand before I saw a return. But then what happened was month 1, I made back half. Month 2, I'd made back the amount. Month 3, I was now double. And now month 4 going on, it's like I've quadrupled that investment.
Right.
But we live in such a fast pace, like I'll give you 10 grand, I want to see 30 immediately.
Right.
Like even businesses I find are like that. With my thing, for what helped me, and I'd love to hear how you help the other guys as well that battled this. It was when you started seeing some results. Like, so you do a video for a client, like a landing page video, and you know, I could say to them, I'm like, well, she has ended up making $15,000 so far from this landing page video. That's the only thing that has changed. But now she's getting people signing up to her $2,000 yearly program, and she just gets an email in. She's like, where'd that come from? Now, those stories allowed me to charge an increase. But for someone who hasn't got that yet and got that, I guess, that validity,
Right.
How do you help people get over that mark?
You like getting them testimonials, at least per se?
Well, yeah, testimonials are good, but I think for me,
you mean like the results?
Yeah, it's like that's a result. Because as soon as you can go like, hey, this is what's happened with some of my clients, it's a lot. There's a grounding feeling to it to be like, here's my value, and they're like, well, shit, if he's going to be blank, and other clients have made blank,
So like for me at least, like the easiest way to get that would be like a non-ROI metric, right? So it'd be like views, likes, comments, shares, right? Because that doesn't really bring you any money, but whether business owners like to admit it or not, right? Like they still want to be liked. Like this, like those metrics still matter to them. Maybe on a small scale, right? So they're not going to invest like 10, 20, 30K on a video for that. But if you can at least start getting that for them, then they'll be more open to listen to like the other stuff. Because then you can be like, hey, look, I got you. Maybe we didn't get 20,000 views on this, but we got 150 shares. Now imagine if you had 150 shares for a video that's talking about your business. Then like they'll be able to connect, like, okay, like let's try it out. And then once you start getting those tryouts, you just got to execute. And then once you can execute, then you can build upon like, hey, look at the results that we've got. At least that's how I would approach it, because putting stuff on social media is like the lowest barrier of entry. So you could even do a video like that for free. And that's essentially why like UGC content exists. It's like, hey, just give this to this kid and have him like do a little mini ad for it, and let's just see how it goes. So I think that's like the main angle that I would approach it with.
Yeah. One thing that you touched on too, and this is what really skyrocketed our business, was most people look at it like a commodity.
Right.
Oh, you'll make a video.
Right.
Now with iPhones.
Right. Everyone thinks they can make a video. Yeah.
Yeah. And the thing that helped us was I was like, no. You're hiring me to extract who you are.
Yeah.
And put that into a video. And so, I mean, part of our products were now, scripting, writing it, we're on like a month to month thing where it's like, you pay me for the month, but I want you back next month.
Yeah.
And what we noticed with that too was it was like, they realized because I care about them coming back, I cared about getting them results. And you can tell it's like, for example, Instagram's, the views are down across the board. Like people are trying to figure it out. There's definitely ways you can wedge through it. But I was just fully honest with my client yesterday. I'm like, look, they had been noticing it, but they hadn't said anything to me. I go, look, views are down across the board and we don't know why. And they're like, oh yeah, we're wondering about that. Now, most of the time I think people would be like, don't talk about it. Don't address the elephant in the room.
Yeah.
But by me being like, here's the problem we're facing.
Yeah.
So we need to start figuring out different ways to strategize your content to connect with people. That gave them, they're like, fuck, okay, we trust you.
Yeah.
We'll hire you next month again.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's about building that trust. And once you do that, I feel like that's the hardest part. They say it all the time, it's easier to sell to an existing client than to get a new one. So like once you build that trust, especially in business, and this is why I kind of moved away from doing weddings, is like once you have someone as a client in business, at least you can constantly build and create new stuff for them, right? As opposed to wedding, it's like one video done, that's it. But business is like I got clients of mine that I've worked with for years, dude. Just every month, every other month, we just create new stuff. Yeah. So that's why I enjoy doing business content. So. But yeah, I think like to your point, once you build that trust, everything else is easy. You just gotta exit. You gotta fulfill. Yeah.
Which I think that's the cool thing is like when you have to care. Like you create a system where you have to care. Like a wedding, it's like cool. I might get a referral. Right. Like I've shot one wedding in my life, and I was like, never again. I was like, never again.
What was it for you though?
In terms of never again for the wedding?
Yeah, like what made you be like,
for me, I didn't care because I love being able to tell a story. And most weddings are just like a bunch of beautiful cinematics and you stitch them together. You get a nice paycheck, but it wasn't, I didn't care about it, Yeah. Like our birth video for my daughter, I remember the pain it was to try and find a videographer that would give me their raw videos. The raw footage, yeah. Bro, I'm like, I just want to hire someone who, when we're at the water birth, is professional, can shoot great content, not some freaking person like, here, hold a phone because it's going to be shit. Yeah. I'm like, I need someone, but then I do this for a living. I need to edit it. Yeah. I had one girl she charges $1,900 for the full package. She wanted to charge me $1,800 to film it. And I go, so your editing fee is $100? $100. I'm like, that's bullshit. Like, I know how this works. And then I end up finding a guy, and he was great. He was just like, he'd never shot a birth in his life. Wow. And he was just, he shoots weddings and stuff like that normally. But I was just like, I just need you to come. He's like, do I have to like film? I'm like, this is going on YouTube, dude. Like, okay, no for JJ. But as a result, it's like, I spent 60 hours editing this story, and it's had like 80,000 views or something on YouTube at the moment. Okay. The thumbnail is terrible, so we got to fix the thumbnail and the title. But the thing was, like, I have friends, family. I had dudes call me going, "Dude, I'm crying watching this thing. Like, I feel like I know you." Yeah. And that was what, for me with the weddings, I'm like, I can't do this. Yeah. I want to know the person. I want to figure out how to tell a story that connects with people. Not something where, the client's happy because they get to look at themselves and they're like, I look so beautiful. Yeah. It wasn't giving to me, as selfish as that sounds.
Yeah, that was, I kind of want to see that video now.
Yeah?
It sounds like a dope video.
It's very unique.
How long ago was it, so?
A year.
Okay.
And the goal was I wanted people to see the whole truth about a water birth experience, because I was super sick. When my wife told me, I was like, okay, kook. But after I was like, oh, I'll do that any day over the other thing, because of the relationship between me and my wife. I was like, I had to look after her. Okay. And there's like this vulnerability / protectiveness that you don't get in a conventional environment. Okay. Because it's like the doctor's like, we've got it. And you're just there holding their hand going, it'll be fine, baby. Yeah. Like I jumped in the water. I caught the baby in the water. Like it was a awesome experience. But then the reason it took 60 hours to edit was, one, there's no storyboard at all. No planning. Yeah. And two, I was also fishing through all the footage for our entire relationship. Like we've had footage since no joke, the hour we met.
So you vlogged everything?
We've vlogged our whole life a lot. So
is this part of like an existing like couples channel, or like?
It was for a bit.
Okay.
But then, I kind of lost. We want to get back into it because I love that storytelling. This is what the hurricane video is going to be. But I want to make sure that like we have these memories we can look back and be like, oh shit, like our kids will be able to watch, no joke, the day we met.
Yeah, that's beautiful.
It's fucking wild.
Yeah.
And Stacey, the reason we have vlogged so much was, one, I love videos, but two, she's an American from West Virginia who the whole family live within 20-meter radius of each other. She's living 26 hours travel time away. And so the vlogs were something that actually built rapport and trust with her family on the other side of the world.
But was that intentional?
No.
Okay.
It was a little bit.
Okay.
But it was more just like, I love sharing. And the thing that I noticed was, from that, the first time I flew to West Virginia, I didn't introduce myself once.
They already knew you.
They already knew me.
Because of the vlogs.
And that's when I was like, this is what business owners have to do.
I was just going to say that, right? I was just going to say it. Like, people buy from people. They have to trust you to make a heavy investment in, right? Like, I don't know who the owner of Liquid Death is. But if I saw this and then I saw Liquid Death Extreme, Liquid Painful Death Extreme, and it was sold by The Rock, I would buy this one all day. I'm like, oh, that's The Rock. That's a homie.
Yeah.
So like, and that's what I try to tell people about content too, because a lot of business owners and entrepreneurs, they don't understand content. They're like, why? Literally, I had someone tell me the other day, why would I pay you to make someone like me?
Because they think of AdSense. I think that's all they think about. Make a video, get AdSense.
Right. They think of like ROAS, like that's what they think about. But it's like, dude, like, yeah, you can sell from an ad. Of course, you hit people's pain points, this, that, and the third. Yeah, you can sell that, of course. But you can triple whatever that's gonna be if someone knows you and likes you and trusts you already. Like,
yeah,
like I was reading the other day, Elon doesn't spend any money on advertising.
Yeah, it's wild,
It's for Tesla. Like, he's the only advertising there is for Tesla. And it's like,
yeah,
they're crushing it, dude. Like, what more example do you like? I don't know. It's like clear to me.
Apple's the same, I think.
Apple's.
Oh no, that's a lie. They did ads.
They do commercials and stuff like that. Yeah.
But do you know how smart he is? So you know when he did the big announcement about the Cybertruck?
Yeah.
I don't believe the cracking of the windows was accidental.
You think that was intentional?
So for one,
do you think him smoking on Joe Rogan was intentional?
I think he was intentional, but he didn't know the ramifications. I was watching, literally, it's funny you bring that up. He literally was talking on the Nelk Boys, and a reel came up yesterday that I watched.
Yeah.
And he was talking about how, because he's got all these federal contracts, weed is a federal offense, unfortunately. He had to do all these drug tests, but not just him, but all of SpaceX employees had to go through these drug tests. And he was like, guys, I'm so sorry. I didn't think about this part. But the breaking of the windows, think about the byproducts of that. You got people that love Tesla. You got people that love Elon and Tesla, and you got people that fucking hate him. Now, when he's like, this is going to be bulletproof, and then boom, it breaks the window, and he goes, whoops, I'll try again. Bang, other one cracks. Whoops. We'll fix it before we release it. Everyone who hates Elon is going to tweet that. What a fucking joke of a guy. He's ridiculous. Right. Like, this is, marketing him for free.
Yeah.
That's how I found out about the Tesla.
Oh, okay.
And me, who I'm like, that's a badass truck. I'm like, well, of course he'll fix it before it's released.
Yeah.
I'll put my $100 down. So I don't think
You
it was
think he did
actually,
it on purpose?
I think it was on purpose because he knows that the people that hate him will market him harder, and the people that trust him know that he'll execute before it's released. Because that's what happened to me.
Okay, let me ask you this. Would you do that?
Yeah.
I think that's like a slippery slope. That's like a tricky game to play.
It depends.
It can work and it can backfire.
It depends on how much you do it.
Yeah.
Like, there's people that rely on that as a crutch. Elon doesn't rely on it, but he knows what's the cheapest way to get marketing.
And I think it also depends on what you do it with.
Yeah.
Because if he's like, hey, this truck is safe for all crashes, and then and the shit fucking blows up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because he only did a little thing. It's like, this will be bulletproof. Cracked
And
window.
everyone doesn't need a bulletproof window. Yeah.
Like, but there's definitely, you're right, it is a slippery slope. You see it with YouTubers.
Yeah.
But it also can work if the Kardashians, their whole thing's built on fake drama. But because it happens so much,
It's like seen as a norm.
it's seen as a norm. But again, it's like, I mean, it's hard to say. It depends on the person. Like, they only care about money.
Because
so drama is
now
great.
I'm thinking about like the Jake Paul thing when he filmed some kid that died, right? Somebody died.
No, that was Logan.
Oh, Logan.
That one wasn't deliberate. I'm a massive Logan Paul fan.
Okay.
I've watched the video, and just like with the media, they love to take shit out of context and they clip stuff. Now you got to, if you look at the full context, he's 21. He's
Yeah.
21, 22, and he's spoken about it. He goes, like, you know how like
So that was an
20-year-olds
accident.
It was an accident coming across the body.
Okay.
The whole vlog was they were going to go sleep in Suicide Forest for a night. And like, you
Okay.
got to remember, he's 22.
he was doing pranks and stuff. Yeah.
He's doing a whole video every single day. Like, it's go, go, go. The bigger I make it, then the more crazy stuff, the more money that comes in. Like, he was making 60 to 100 grand a day
Yeah.
at 22.
Yeah.
And so it was going up and up and up. And so you watch the whole video and he's like going, this is going to be the best vlog in the world at the beginning, before he'd gone in. He's like, you guys are going to be shocked. Like, all the words that if you put it at the end of it after you've seen the dead body, now it looks like he's using that dead body as a marketing tool.
Yeah.
But that's not how the actual sequence went in the vlog. Now that I was sleeping, was the goal just to sleep? Like, that'd be crazy. Like, this is a forest where people go to commit suicide.
Right.
We're going to sleep there. As they're walking in, they come across a body by chance. And, you know, again, his editor's 23 and they're pumping out a video day by day by day. And so they had the video, they had the footage in the raw vlog of the body for like a fraction of a second. At the end of the video, there's also other moments where Logan, like, he's a bro.
Yeah.
And he's also leaning into a certain character, which isn't fully Logan Paul in real life. And, you know, he's laughing. He's not laughing at the body, but you know when you see shit that makes you uncomfortable?
Yeah.
He's laughing
it's like a
like...
defense mechanism, yeah.
Yeah, and he literally says, he goes, I'm not laughing at the body in the vlog. I'm not laughing at the body. I'm laughing because this is so uncomfortable, as you guys could imagine.
Yeah.
But he's also trying to simultaneously keep the persona going,
Right.
because that's Logan Paul that people pay to see.
Yeah.
And then at the end of the video, he actually sits down and has this deep and meaningful thing to his followers about, like, guys, like, I know I'm always trying to make fun and stuff like that, but shit like this is serious. So if you have problems, make sure to talk to someone. All the comments are like praising him. The media gets it. This is like the biggest YouTuber at the moment. We can bring him down. We can cut it out of context, show the body, blur the face out, show him laughing.
Yeah.
That connection, what a dick. And so the whole media could use it. And again, like, show the body. This is the most insane thing. You're going to be shocked by what's in this video. Dead body.
And then him laughing.
And then him laughing.
Yeah. I see.
So he was always trying to escalate it. But how that story was portrayed, as we know with the media, was so out of context.
Yeah.
It wasn't, he came across it, he shouldn't have posted the video with the body. But, you know, this is how he dealt with it. And then there was actually a great message at the end of it. It was, he's laughing at a dead body.
Yeah, I think, yeah. So that's kind of like, that's something I was gonna ask you too. Like, with you putting your relationship out there, are you ever worried of like things getting taken and like misconstrued or like?
Not really. because I find that it's going to be the people that don't understand the back end. And I'm a big fan of like, there's this big thing right now, and like Ace Family's experienced it. They were marketing themselves as the perfect family.
Okay.
That's what was sucking
Who was
everyone
this?
in. Ace Family. They got like 15 million subs. Like they were the biggest family channel. They still are. But it was perfect.
Yeah.
And a scandal comes out where they probably have an open relationship. But it's because they've marketed them. It's the same as Ellen. Ellen tells someone to chew gum because their breath stinks. And it's like, oh, how could you do that?
Yeah.
I don't want to market that. I don't want to put out a false narrative. Yes, there's things that we keep under wraps, but I think also there's a very important thing for people to see as well, the reality of like a relationship.
Yeah.
You know, like our relationship was insane. Like we did 3 things that usually divorce a relationship, or can divorce a relationship: move to another country, start a business, start a family at the exact same fucking time. You know?
Yeah.
And to say like we're doing fine is bullshit. There's so many stresses that I think it's a disservice to not tell people.
Yeah.
Like, this is the shit we're going through, but here's how we're actually compartmentalizing and actually evaluating it versus just yelling at each other. And yeah, there's times where she will message me and go, I don't want to talk to you. And I'm like, I fucked up.
Yeah.
And vice versa. That, I don't know, it's like a therapy for me in a way, because I'm just like, hey guys, we're not perfect. And that's what's cool.
Yeah.
You know?
I think I was listening to, I think it was Patrick Bet David, and he was saying that maybe I'm getting this wrong, but he was saying like when he first started his YouTube channel, he was already who he was, right? But so it wasn't for any monetary gain. It was more so he just wanted to document his life because he wanted his grandkids to be able to see his shit on YouTube. And I think it's important, man. I tell everyone, I'm like, dude, start a YouTube channel. Like, even if you get 0 views, that's not the point, bro.
Yeah.
The point is, like, in 10 years, you're gonna watch back at some of this shit, like, holy fuck, like.
Well, that's what my wife said. It's a video photo book. You know, like you do your photo album. You get to see it. And I go to her, I'm like, the only problem is it's kind of a little bit fake. It's a little bits of fakeness. Yeah, but even business owners, because like even Hormozi's, Alex Hormozi says it himself. He's like, he wishes he would have documented better at the beginning of his journey, because now where he's at now, you know, it's just so that's what I tell everyone, like, just get on video, dude. Stop overthinking it. There's also a very different reception when you're like, people see you do it versus, you know, for example, you see me arguing with my wife over something like a stress that's happening currently.
Right.
And then you see the outcome later.
Right.
Seeing that versus, you know, there was times where we argued.
Yeah. Doesn't
hit.
Right.
But
doesn't hit the same.
Getting a camera out going, I hate you. It's also fucking weird.
Yeah. Have you ever done that? Like in the middle of the argument, just.
No, we haven't. Sometimes, like, there's probably going to be moments where we reenact it.
Oh, okay.
To make it at least feel real.
Okay.
We haven't done that, but because we're talking at the moment about, I'm like, one, this has to be it's around our life, like it's like, you know, based on true story. But for me, it's very important that people feeling like they're in that microcosm.
Okay.
Versus, again, like it's like what you said about Hormozi. I love hearing his insights because he's very insightful. He's vulnerable, which a lot of entrepreneurs don't want to do. I'm powerful.
Right.
And it's like, but also when they try, it's like, I don't believe you.
Yeah.
Like you're not a good actor. He has that little. It's like he's vulnerable, but you can tell there's a little bit of him that's not hurt. But you know what I mean? Like he's still fighting something.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
I get
There's
that
from twinkle.
I get that from him when he talks about like when he brings up his dad and stuff, like that relationship. When he talks about that, and then I see like other things he talks about, I'm like, okay, that's from this. Like that's where this came from. Maybe I'm like overanalyzing it, but at least that's what I get.
Yeah. But you can tell, you know what I mean? Like there's that, he's done the work. Like, I mean, I know you've worked with Tanner, and like I really admire what Tanner's done, but I can tell there's this shell around him still in his content where I'm like, fuck, I want it. Like when I met him in person, I was like, dude, you're different in a secondary layer that I've never seen on social media. You know, but it's fucking hard to show the world that shit. Like it's no disrespect to Tanner. I'm just like, I think that the blockage that he may or may not have to take him to the next step, because I know he's trying to build his YouTube channel, is one, he needs more characters. Hormozi has that with Layla. That gives him a second depth automatically. It's like, fuck, there's this love story attached to the business success.
This is all stuff that I've told Tanner.
Oh, really?
Repeatedly, by the way. Like,
you and I can gang up on him.
Yeah, I'm like, dude, like I've talked, because Tanner, so I lived with Tanner. Tanner, and so zooming out from Tanner, right? Like all these entrepreneurs, to be as you may know yourself, to be a CEO, entrepreneur, all this stuff, you have to kind of put up these walls, right? Like, because business is very logical. So you kind of have to like put up these walls of like, this is my mission, I need to lock in and I need to go after it. Everything else, whatever. But what happens is when it's time to be vulnerable, you still have these walls, and it's hard because it's been up for so long. And I lived with Tanner, and I didn't see like the vulnerability until like months in.
Yeah.
Because right away it was like all business. And then little by little I started seeing things, and I'm like, bro, why don't you make content about
share that shit, man?
Yeah, just share it. Like he has like a dope relationship with his girlfriend. And I tell them both. Like,
I met her, man. She's cool.
Yeah, I told her, and she's a business owner herself.
Yeah.
So,
I thought she worked with them.
She has her own business. She's crushing it too.
Sick.
They both have a dope relationship, and I've told both of them like, y'all need to talk about this shit. But you know,
how long have they been dating? If that's not too personal, like a couple of years.
Oh, yeah, a couple of years. I don't know exactly, but I know it's a few years.
Because I wonder if the difference is, I mean, nothing's worse than like a public breakup. Now, I'm not saying they're going to break up.
Yeah. That's what I worry about. Yeah.
That could be the thing, but at the same time, nothing attracts more attention than a public breakup. But I think maybe that's the safety mechanism that Layla and Alex have is like, one, when they're married, and two, it's like we're building this thing 100% together. Yeah, that might be why they're like all right about sharing.
So but
maybe it's still a bit too early and there's too many unknowns.
Yeah, so I kind of wonder that with
I mean, I'm not speaking for Tanner, by the way, guys. Hypothesizing.
I'm kind of wondering that with you though. Like, is that ever a thought that crosses your mind
in terms of
like breaking up or something? Maybe not now, but before, has that ever?
No, because I mean, for me, it's like what will happen will happen. Yeah, and I find when you don't document it, people have so many more questions. They have more questions if you don't document it than if you do. Okay. It's like, oh, you broke up? Why? Yeah. Oh, what happened? Oh, and it's like they want to know. Yeah. But, you know, I think it's also like my life's been wild and I've never hidden it. Yeah. You know, like, I mean, I've said it on this podcast before to many people. I was at a sex party the day before I met my wife.
Like you were participating? Okay.
So I was at a sex party, get on a plane, go to Bali, meet this 4-year celibate girl.
Oh, she was celibate? Yeah. Okay.
And then started hanging out and, you know, that was the start of our relationship. So like she knows everything about me. Yeah. Because again, my belief is there's more power in knowledge than ignorance. Right. And my thing was like, look, my history before you was wild. Yeah. That and I said to her, I'm like, I would rather you know everything about me. And she's also like intrigued because she's never lived that wild life where she's just like, so that happened and I'm like, yeah. And I realized I didn't like that scene. But no one can go to her. Did you know this about Blake?
Yeah, that's true.
Like there's a disarming power in knowledge. And that's the thing as well, even with coming back to business, most people that reach out to me or vice versa, they're like, I know a lot about this guy. Like if I want to see who he's really like, I can watch a podcast that's unedited. At the moment, they could watch 60 hours plus of me and they'd be like, they can make their own judgment. Whereas if someone goes, oh, do you know this about him? they could be like, really? I can't see him doing that. You know?
Yeah, but I think what needs to be said is like, you at some level are already super sure of yourself enough to be able to be vulnerable and open and honest, right? Am I like, yes, no?
98%.
Right.
There's definitely some things, but
right.
you know.
but what the point I'm saying is like a lot of these entrepreneurs and business owners, I feel like a lot of them aren't. I feel like in business, maybe they have it all figured out, but maybe in their personal, they just don't. You know what I'm saying? Like, I feel like there's something there that needs to be worked on first. Because a lot of them, for example, with you, like, how do you deal with, like, a bad comment? If, like, someone on YouTube is like, oh, he, you know, whatever.
You know, the funny thing, the comment section is what made me not give a fuck.
Okay.
Now, it took a lot.
Okay.
It wasn't like I saw the first bad comment and I was just like, I was like, no, you, man.
Probably want to make a reaction video.
No, I just reacted with my thumbs. But yeah, no, by having like viral videos.
Yeah.
And like I've had people tell me that I don't deserve to have children. And it's a shame that you get to keep your child when good families lose them.
Right.
I've had that.
Right.
But there's this, again, the way I split it is, this is someone who doesn't know me and they're basing their entire opinion on me as a parent off a 13-second video. That's not their fault. So I'm not going to take it personally. And two, you're helping my interaction.
Yeah.
You know, like
Yeah.
it's unfortunately, like, I mean, so I'll end up just becoming a troll in my comments if I got a bunch of haters, but I have fun with it because, again, it's like I'm having not even an argument because I don't even care, but they are. This is someone who doesn't know me.
Yeah.
And it's going to push it further. And what you end up seeing is like when you have some fun, other people who do eventually, like they watch it and they're like, hey, this guy's or girl's being a dick. I'm on Blake's side. And now I've got someone else who will then watch the other videos and who knows, start to like me or whatever.
Yeah, I think you're right. I react the same way. Like it's like I don't even really care. But I think that is something that I don't know if like you can teach that. I know you can teach it, but like
shock therapy, baby.
Yeah, but I feel like there's definitely like a mindset shift that needs to happen. But no, you're right. I deal with it the same way. I don't even pay any attention.
It's definitely when you get like comments from people you do know, I think that obviously hurts because you're like, dude, I thought you knew me.
Yeah.
I think those ones, obviously, they're always going to hurt a bit more because you want the people who do personally know you to understand you. Whereas when it's people you don't know, it's like, one, I don't even know who you are, Bossy Boots 234. but two, it's like, I'm never going to see you.
Yeah.
Like, I don't even know where you live.
Nor do I care.
Or your face looks like. So,
care.
you know,
Yeah.
it's just you're a nameless thing with an opinion for a fraction of a second. So there's, again, that's why I mean, like, in terms of 98%, because even right now, it's like, you know, on the surface, there's a lot of things that are going great. And there's also other things where it's like, there's that self-doubt, you know, like, oh, I'm doing this thing. Is it working? Can I do a slight pivot? Like, you know, there's always going to be those uncertainties.
Yeah. I think that's some of the things that people didn't, that you deal with, especially with putting content out by yourself.
Yeah.
Yeah, because people are always going to pick you apart.
Yeah. And don't get me wrong, like my family, they're always like, Blake, you showed too much. Like they're and actually both sides, they're like, you guys show too much. And it's like, all right.
Yeah.
You know, how else is someone going to build, like being able to, what I've done with my business in merely a year, it baffles them.
What is like the thing you enjoy most about this?
Meeting people, but I mean, that's where I guess the underlying insecurity is, you know, like I also want people to understand me. That's why I like storytelling. So I think that's the real thing. Does that make sense?
You enjoy meeting people from this?
Oh yeah. Well, dude, like, I mean, shit, without this, you know, we'd probably catch up eventually.
Yeah, eventually, yeah.
You know, but I mean, we've been back and forth for how long? And I'm like, fuck, this guy's really interesting.
Yeah.
Now I get to chat to him, you know?
Yeah.
And I get to share that conversation with other people who will see your shit and be like, oh, I really like Alexis. You know?
Hopefully. Yeah.
Dude, 100%.
What is all right, let's talk about this. What is something
Like, it feels like I'm a guest. What happened?
what do you think is something that I'm trying to pick my words carefully. What is something that exhausts you about this at times? Whether it's video, podcasting, or just content or vlog, whatever, just
fuck, that is a good question. I think it's just more that the creative side of it requires a lot of hours and it's not that I don't want to do it. Mm-hmm. It's that I just want more time. Because it's like, you know, you're juggling a shitload. You got to pay for your you've got to pay for your family. You got to pay for all these things. So there's that responsibility for income. Mm-hmm. But there's also that creative side, like with the hurricane video I mentioned a couple of times. I sit in front of that and hours go by.
Yeah.
Like I've spent hours strategizing the beats of the story. Okay, that moment doesn't work. How do I shift that? All right, that entire section, unfortunately, I got to kill my darlings, get rid of it. It doesn't serve the story.
Right.
I love that.
Yeah.
But it's also, I mean, I'm telling my story.
Right.
My story doesn't pay me, you know, yet. Like
right.
it still serves a purpose where people go like, dude, I saw that video. Holy shit. Mm-hmm. You're good at videos. You know? Yeah. But I think that'd be the only thing. Like any creator, they'd love to be able to share their story and become a YouTuber.
Yeah. But I think it takes a lot of time and it's a lot of hours and you don't get paid for it. But I mean, I'm sure you'd prefer doing that than doing it for someone else.
Yeah, I think we always will. Because it's that double hitter. You're doing the passion of creating a story, plus then now people are understanding you. I feel like creators have some sort of all artists, there's that little insecurity of I want to be understood.
Yeah.
Musicians and video, you know?
Yeah. And I think business owners go through that too a little bit. I feel like I was just talking to someone about this too. I feel like when you're entrepreneur or business owner or whatever, it's important to have that support group, network, mastermind, whatever you call it, because I don't know about you, but there's times when I felt like alone, like, yo, no one understands what I'm trying to do here.
Oh, dude.
Yeah.
You're talking like, yeah.
Especially like family sometimes, or like friends, or like...
Family's the worst one because, well, I'll show you, like, because this is legit. Like, I'm constantly having arguments with them because what we do is it's especially coming from a family that, like, they're very well off. Mm-hmm. They've built their business successfully, but it's brick and mortar. Mm-hmm. You go out, you do it, you come home. Mm-hmm. I can be on Instagram, like, and then all of a sudden it's like, you know, the other day I go, oh, hey, just so you know, me scrolling just made me $2,500.
Yeah.
Huh? What do you mean?
Yeah.
I go, because I saw an opportunity with a past client of mine who was doing something and I just reached out. Mm-hmm. And they're like, huh.
Yeah.
And I get it. Like, dude, you and I are in the same industry of this helps our business.
Yeah.
I still see someone on their phone. I don't assume they're working.
I
assume they're fucking around, you know? And I'm like, so that's how people look at me. And it's, you know, also the hours that they don't get that, okay, that 11, 12-minute video took you 50, 60 hours to edit. Yeah. They're like, no. I'm like, guys, it takes... Hollywood, what? 8 years to do a 2-hour movie? No. 8 years?
Yeah. It's funny. I've had those same exact conversations, like, where they're like, how do you make money? You're just like on your phone all day. I'm like, yeah.
That's how I make money.
Yeah.
But people don't realize that too. Same with like followers. They think that followers equal blank. I'm like, dude, I converted a client 10 days ago, like a week and a half ago, let's say, because of a video that performed terribly. You got 700 views on Instagram. Terrible. But it hit the right person. And they were like, shit, he's so right.
Yeah.
Hey, and like it was literally DM, I need your services. Great. Here's the link. Book it. Get on the call. Half an hour. Boom. Like it was just, here's my price. Okay, cool.
Yeah. That same thing happened to me. I landed I made like 10 grand off of like a reel that got like 700 views. So, because it's not about the view. Like everyone thinks it's like the view. It's like, yeah, views matter, right? You do, but views, like if we convert views, if we convert a reel to like a brick and mortar store, right? Here's a real brick and mortar store. Views is essentially how many people walk in your store. That doesn't mean they're all gonna buy though. But why does it matter if you have 1 million views on a reel and none of it converts, as opposed to 300 views and maybe like 2 people convert? Like, you know what I'm saying? It's like you have 1 million people that go in your store, no one buys shit, as opposed to 100 people go in your store, maybe like 10 of them buy something.
Yeah.
That's what you would prefer. So it's like, it's not about the views. The views matter, but it's also really about like what pain points are you speaking to whoever your base is.
Yeah.
Because that's all you need for someone to buy, dude. Like once they hear that, like they're like, oh, he gets me. He knows the problem I'm having. Oh, here's my fucking credit card. Like,
yeah.
So.
Well, and that's the thing too. Like since I've moved here, my following on Instagram has only gone up probably 400 or 500 followers. And you know, most businesses will be like, nah, that's not good growth. And I'm like, I've only gone up 400 followers, but I've increased my income because of Instagram by 80K minimum.
Yeah.
You know, like, what do you prefer? Me sending you some viral videos? Like, I've had videos hit 2 million views. That shit didn't make me a cent.
Yeah. Yeah. Same
You know?
with me. I've had a few videos hit like 30,000, 50,000. Didn't make $1 off it. That shit doesn't mean anything, bro.
That's why I tell people, I'm like, it's not about how far, like, unless you can be someone like Mr. Beast and your strategy is, I will go super wide and it'll eventually pay me, which that's hard. Like, I mean, Mr. Beast was...
He's been doing it for years,
He's done it for years.
Yeah.
It's a long game.
That is a super long game.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Whereas Gary Vee, he started narrow. His only content was Wine Library.
Yeah.
That's all he did.
And he did that for a few years.
He got wide after Wine Library was like 6-7 years old.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, people don't get that.
Yeah. And he was also on in a time where YouTube, there was not many, he was like the only wine channel.
Yeah.
So there was zero competition as well. But he still was focusing on vertical.
Yeah. It's funny when you try to explain that to like, to business owners, and they're like, yeah, like Gary Vee. And I'm like, bro, you know how much content Gary Vee puts out? For how long?
Bro.
You're tired after a month? You don't want to post anymore? Like,
Yeah.
bro.
Yeah, it is funny, and I get it. Like, I mean, we've both been victim, I'm sure, of that instant gratification disappointment.
Yeah.
You know, I've told people, I'm like, honestly, going viral is probably the worst thing for you. Going viral early, because that's
your expectation.
Fucks up your expectation. So I remember on TikTok when this was like 3 years ago, I had my first video hit 20,000 views. It was like, I may as well probably have taken some crazy amount of cocaine. I was like, oh my God. You know, I'd never seen numbers like that before.
Yeah.
And then a month later, I had a 1.5 million view video. And after that, it was like 3,000, 5,000. And then...
You started doubting yourself.
I was comparing it to like the original high. It was funny though, because I had more of a high of the first 20,000 than the first million. But over the next probably 3 months, I didn't care about TikTok anymore. But if I stuck consistently at that, I would have learned how to storytell. All right, what's happening? Then during COVID, I would have blown up probably because everyone was back home. So that's what I always tell people. I'm like, if you focus on the views, the ones that get the smaller ones for longer and fine tune their craft are the ones that stay, because they realize the numbers don't matter. But if you pop off early, you think the numbers matter. And then when you're not popping off anymore because you just got fucking lucky, let's face it.
Yep.
Now you're like...
You failed. Yeah.
I suck. I suck.
Yep.
You know?
Going viral on like your first few pieces of content is equivalent of like... Is like the equivalent of like snatching up like a
model,
like
Victoria's
like
Secret's
a girl dating like an NFL player, like her first date. Like, so now you think all guys are gonna fly you out and get you in the Rolls Royce? Nah, that's not how it works.
Yeah, I'm taking you to Chuck E. Cheese, bitch.
Chick-fil-A, that's it. That's all you're getting. So that's why, I agree. Going viral is one of the worst things, because
it's the worst.
Then you think that's how it's supposed to go.
Yeah, but the thing that does suck in a way of how I have to talk to people at the start is like, I've had videos here a couple million. Because they go, oh.
But now they want that they're like, you can do that for me.
So what I end up telling them is, I go, do you know how many videos I posted before that happened? And that sort of then sets the expectation. And on top of that, I go, also, I've made more money from this video, and they watch it and they're like, oh, that's very interesting. And I show them the $2 million one, the 2 million view one, and it's from the podcast. And it's me and my friend talking about this time when she was a teacher and a piece of string got stuck in a kid's butt and she had to pull it out.
Okay.
Of course, that's going to be, that's a wild story.
Yeah.
But no one watches that and goes, fuck, I want this guy to make me videos.
Yeah.
And that then sets them up of, that is interesting. You know, I never thought of it that way. So that's usually what I end up telling them to set their expectations. And what I've noticed anyway is they can get a couple of thousand, but that's still opening up. Like, it's opening up so many conversations for them locally. And if you're a realtor, a loan officer, or whatever, like, I mean, again, we filmed yesterday, and every time I film for them, they're like, yeah, I was at this place, and this person's like, oh, you're that loan officer influencer. They're like, no, but thanks. I'm glad you're noticing my shit. But it's constantly opening them up doors where they're like, oh, we get it, you know?
Yeah, and something a lot of people don't understand about content as well is like, creating it is half the battle. Like, this proper distribution is just as probably more important. Like, okay, you posted one time here, but are you posting it here? Are you posting it there? Are you posting it there? Are you stretching this out? Are you transcribing it? Are you taking the words? Are you taking, like, what are you doing, like, with the content? Like, are you just creating it just to create? Like, it's that, you know, and I think people need to have that mindset as well. Like, because they think, all right, I created it, I did all the hard stuff, I'm done. It's like, no, bro. Like, it's just the beginning.
Well, that's what Tyler created. Did you see his one recently where he's just like, I don't get rappers that they post their song and then they're like, all right, I tried. He's like, no. Now you market for the next 2 years for that song.
Yep. Distribution.
And it was finally like, all right, great. People are starting to say, because I think the internet had this like gleeful thing where it was like, you know, making money's easy. Buy my program. You know, getting famous is easy. Just make songs. It just make songs and fucking promote. Look at every single massive star. They're professional marketers who are musicians. You know, same as any other business person. They are what they are, but at the end of the day, they're a professional marketer. Gary Vee, he's more vertical because like he's a marketer who has a marketing agency. But then you've got Ryan Pineda, all those other guys. They're the ones at the top that are the ones pulling people in. They get paid more because they're creating jobs because of what they're pulling in. I think most people they want. I love the thing when people are like, oh, the algorithm changed. It's like, no, just people don't give a fuck about what you're posting.
Right. The algorithm changing is like, it's like it raining outside. Like, all right, cool. Like, yeah, okay, it changed, but it's like, just pivot, dude. Like, you know, It's because people want the easy way out. Like, they want to blame the algorithm for their content being shit, or they want to blame being shadow banned, or they want to blame like,
which is hilarious, by the way.
Like, bro, no one cares who you are.
Well, it's hard. The way I usually tell people is I go, all right, I want you to think of 5 people, you know, or 5 businesses, you know, even just locally. How often do you interact with their shit? They'll say me a number or whatever. And I go, all right, are they doing good stuff? They're like, yeah, it's pretty good. And I go, so can you see how hard it is to attract your attention? Because you're fucking busy, dude.
Yeah.
If they can't attract your attention every single day, do you think you'll be able to attract their attention every single day? The answer is yes. But it's very fucking hard because everything's about priorities. You know what I mean? Like,
and you're competing on social media.
You're competing on it, but it's also like you don't have to be so serious too.
Yeah.
That's the one thing that I've started doing. Like, have you seen one of my, probably not, but one of my clients, Blake Becker. He has a maintenance company, a maintenance and restoration company, and I'm just like, he has fun with me because I'm just like we're doing spoofs.
Yeah.
You know, like he's like talking about how sexy his new machine is, and like I'm doing all this dumb shit.
I've seen those jokes. I
think
you did, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, you have one with this lady, or no, not lady. Like you'll say a joke.
Oh, the dad jokes?
The dad jokes, the dad jokes, yeah.
So that's something I throw in with my clients.
Okay.
So I don't charge them for that. I just go, we're going to do dad jokes on top of it.
Yeah.
But what that ends up happening is it's marketing me.
Yeah.
Because now people go to their page and I'm on their page as well. It doesn't have to be some little tag. They're just like, oh, who's that guy?
Yeah.
Then they come across. So it's a free thing. They get an extra commodity in terms of like a dad joke, but then that funnels people to them, funnels people to me, and it takes me. I mean, to film those, bro, to film them is 60 seconds, 2 minutes.
Do you write the jokes?
You just go on the internet and search
you
dad
just search.
jokes, bro. Like, I literally rip that shit off.
Yeah.
But I do that, and then to edit it, dude. Like, I'm not being creative. It's bang, bang, cut.
Quick, yeah.
It's like a 2-minute edit, and I slap on the captions. The captions take me, like, because I'm not being creative or anything with them. I'm just slap, maybe change a couple of colors. That whole clip will maybe take me from filming it to completing it 10 minutes. But I'm also now giving them free value. But it also simultaneously serves me because it's like people start being like, oh, yep, Blake does your content. That makes sense.
Yeah.
That's why I've seen an elevation in your content because clearly he's doing it.
Yeah, that's good. That's
You
good.
know?
I think that pairs well with like the super serious business owners. It's like have them do a few dad jokes.
Yeah.
Open them up to like a new market. That's good. That's a good idea.
Well, who is it? Andrew Schultz. They were saying in one of their podcasts of, what is it? You can be too serious. You can be too smart. You can be too annoying. You can never be too funny.
That's true.
You've never heard anyone be like, oh, I can't stand that guy. He's too funny.
funny.
You know, it sounds weird saying it.
Yeah.
And that they were saying, like, you know, that's, if you look at anyone who's super successful, like Gary Vaynerchuck, there's still a little funny thing about it where it's like, you know.
He's a dork.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's a funny essence to him.
Yeah,
he also
yeah.
knows his shit.
Yeah.
Brad Lee, I don't know if you follow Brad Lee, the realtor, the real estate guy.
Dropping bombs.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's funny.
Yeah.
So if you look at all the people that really have
They're all like characters.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
And there's a funny part to them. Even Hormozi, if you want to look at him, he has photos, like the pop-up things are like his face like.
Yeah.
He throws comedy in it. If you listen to his podcast at all, like he'll have little divergent parts where he's just like, you know, at the end of the day, like the government's trying to take over you. Now, anyway, don't have to focus on that. Like he throws shit in,
Yeah.
which makes you like you just have to like them because they're fucking funny.
Yeah. It humanizes them. That's what it is. Yeah. And that's one of the issues with business because business is very like robotic sometimes. So humanizing someone, I feel like that definitely takes them a long way.
Yeah. And also, I think a lot of businesses are so scared, like, oh, if I'm not professional, whatever the fuck that means, people don't think I will be good at my job. And I'm like,
That makes no
opposite,
sense.
dude.
Yeah.
Again, people buy from people they like and can execute. That's the most important about execute. But if I'm like, this guy's funny,
Yeah.
like take my money, dude, because I feel good around you, you know?
Yeah. Because now I'm thinking like all the careers who like where the people in it need to fucking lighten up. Like lawyers. Like, bro, just lighten up.
Oh, yeah.
Bro.
They need some lube.
Yeah. Yeah. So no, I think that's a strong point for sure. I didn't even think about it like that. And now that you mentioned that, I do see like where Hormozi is like, okay, he's making little quirks here and there. Like now that I think about it, even his mustache, even the fact that he walks around in Crocs all everywhere.
Yeah, but so so everything he does, even his nose strip,
Yeah.
that ain't by mistake. Everything he does is like that. It's slightly different that makes you stick out. Like when he started popping off, the thing that I saw him and I was like, oh, I've seen that guy's ads 3 fucking years ago. Like his ads were popping up for a while,
yeah.
and then they disappeared. Because I just remembered this big buff dude selling gym memberships with a crowbar.
Yeah.
And like the fact that stuck in my head for 3 years, that when he was popping off like he is now, I remembered those ads. Because he's always been like, how can I be noticed? And I need something that sticks out. You know, like there's a great guy, Chris Collins, I think's his name. he's known as Chris Bulldog Collins.
Okay.
And he's known as the guy who has bulldogs.
Okay.
Because it's a lot easier to be like, man, who's that guy at that event?
The
He has
bulldog.
bulldogs.
Yeah.
Chris, you know?
What do you think is yours?
Aussie sticks out like dog's balls here. that one's an easy one. It definitely, the Aussie one is like, it does a little bit. People usually say, at least in this area, like that, you know, that guy with a really good podcast.
Yeah.
And it's Aussie. I mean, that one really here is sticking out, but I'm always trying to, like, right now I'm trying to figure out the other thing.
Yeah.
But I don't know. Like, again, it has to be genuine. Like, do you have one? Have you ever never really thought about it?
Never even thought about it. Just the guy with the beard. That's usually what I get. The kid with the beard. That's pretty much it. Nah. Now I'm thinking about it, though. What should I do? Dye my beard blonde one day. Never know.
Well, think of, like, Machine Gun Kelly.
Mm-hmm.
Blonde, pretty boy. Like, he was super tattooed to start off with,
Yeah.
but he was like the Eminem ripoff.
Yeah. What is he now, though?
He's Mr. Pink. Like, he always dresses in pink, but he's like still that badass dude that is always wearing bright pink.
Yeah. Okay. Maybe I won't do that, but okay.
You look good in pink.
I think I'll pass.
I did that actually. It was funny. For a while, that happened by accident. I was known as the guy who had flamboyant hoodies. It was like pink with Donald Duck and shit on it. Or like,
was that on purpose? Or just...
I was just obsessed with out there hoods. Like, I had one that looks like it's spray painted smiley faces and shit. I had so many people going, "Where'd you buy that? Where'd you buy that?"
Yeah.
But it's like Florida. That's not sustainable.
Yeah. It's Florida. Yeah. I was sweating in this today.
You mentioned earlier about transcribing a video.
Right.
Can you go into that a bit?
Yeah.
What does that mean exactly for people that aren't familiar with it?
So, transcribe the video. You would upload the audio and you would pull all the words from that clip. Now with that, you can either put it on your website for SEO purposes. You can create a graphic out of it. You can create a carousel out of it. You can create a blog post. I mean, there's so much you can do with video, period, that people don't realize. Like, you can transcribe. You can use a video. You can make it an audio-only podcast. You can take, like, if it's like a paragraph, you can take the one-liner, make that a quote, use it as a hook. You can take the video, run it as an ad. You can take the video and I'm trying to think, like, what else do I usually do? It's pretty much, you can make a reaction video to that clip. You know, down the road, like if it's something you said 7-8 months ago, you can react.
Oh, what Gary Vee does?
Yeah,
like,
he does it all the time.
I told you I said that. Yeah.
Bingo. Yeah, which is why I tell all my clients, save all your content. Like, the older, the better.
Yeah.
That way we can just repurpose the shit out of that. And that's pretty much it. I'm trying to think on top of my head. That's pretty much it. But so from one piece of content, though, you can create, from one video, you can create 10 pieces of content. Easy. Like, for one of my clients, we had 100 clips, and I made a 300 a year's worth of content based off that.
Really?
We didn't have to shoot again.
Jesus.
Now, at that point, we're just worried on distribution again to the point. So, because that's really important. So, yeah, bro, like, when I tell people about making content, they think they have to shoot like every single day. And it's like, no, you just got to do the hard work maybe for a few months. But then after that, you just flood the market. If you look at Hormozi shit, there's stuff that he posts now that he's already posted like a year ago. He just keeps re-uploading.
I'm noticing Ryan Pineda do that, but I don't notice it with Hormozi as much. But it's like, I'll see Ryan Pineda and I'm like, dude, you posted that recently.
Yeah, everyone does it. 'Cause, I mean, they do the same thing with ads though. Like, if you run an ad and you're getting, you know, cheap leads through that ad, they just keep running that shit over and over and over. There's stuff that I've worked with clients of mine that's probably 2 years old, and I still see it pop up on my feed. If it's not broke, don't
don't fix it.
Yeah, don't fix it. So,
do you recommend doing like it as an SRT file, and if you're going to upload to YouTube, say, have that? Does that help their SEO as well for at least that video on YouTube?
For the transcribed, yeah.
Yeah?
Yeah, it does. It helps the SEO, keywords, all that stuff, like the caption, not the captions, the description.
Yeah.
Yeah, that stuff stuff will help with SEO and keywords. Yeah, I mean, everything is connected. Everything affects everything. I don't know, like, if that's the best way to say it, but like,
yeah, you're slowly building a web.
Yeah, even one thing I've realized with YouTube videos too is, like, if you name the actual video file, whatever you're gonna name the video, that's important as well.
Yeah.
Like, I didn't know.
Yeah, I'm like a keyword slut in my description of my, like, you go to my folder, it's like, so if this podcast, for example, if I'm just like rattling off my head, it'd be for categorizing, it'd be the number of the episode, just so for me in the back end is easy to find.
Right.
But it'd be episode number, That's Interesting Podcast with Blake Doyle, Alexis, I forgot your last name, sorry, bro. And then it would be like videography, and then maybe like my description for the video I upload is so long because I'm like, I don't know how this will affect it. But I do notice when I do the VidIQ thing, that impacts it. And then if I have that, and then the title has the header, and then it has like // That's Interesting Podcast, that boosts it, and then the description as well.
Yeah. Yeah. So, something else that I don't know if you do this. This is what I do with clients as well. Is like, this might help you. But again, I don't know if this is what you do. But so like, a lot of times when I try to develop their brands, when I try to start creating content for a client, like I'll have a conversation with them. It's like a mini podcast and it's recorded. But what I'll do is like, say it's like an hour long, right, or 2 hours long. I'll take like 30 to 45 minutes of them just like ranting or rambling or just putting out fire, and I'll rip that audio and I'll create. Have you ever seen like those like motivational videos on YouTube? Where it's like a bunch of B-roll, cheesy music, and then just have someone talking. I'll create that out of that audio,
which would also establish them as like a.
And it's just
industry
more
leader.
Yeah, and it's more content to have out there for the algorithm. So it's like if someone doesn't see this, that they might see that, and that might lead them to every. I mean, there's just different ways to stretch it, bro. But yeah. It
is. The one thing though I'm noticing is I'm kind of getting tired of seeing talking heads.
Yeah.
And I think Instagram's starting to get a bit bored as well. I think that's partly maybe the reason of a drop is it's just I feel like everyone does talking heads now.
Everyone does the same font, same style.
Yeah. Whereas like you look at my editor and she has a really unique way. Hers is more broad, but when my typical talking heads were going down, same as everyone else across the board, outside of just my clients, but other people too that I follow, she would post it and like in 24 hours had 200K views.
Oh wow.
But she like we're now strategizing, like hers is very unique. She has a certain niche that she hooks in. Unfortunately, most of them are just cheap kids who don't have money.
Right.
But there's a lot of things that really worked in it, and we're reverse engineering her stuff and being like, how can we apply that to companies or businesses? Because
you think it's something on the editing aspect on her end?
It's the editing, the storytelling, the hook as well. Like, do you remember that there was a video that went around? It was like how to get a Chipotle burrito for $2. It had like it's like a 35 million on Instagram at the moment. Probably just short of 10.
Whose is it?
Hers.
Yeah.
She basically caused a whole problem with Chipotle, where they had to change they have to update their app.
Wait, hold on. So
she caused a massive ruckus.
So she edited a video.
She filmed and edited that video. It's her video.
How to like get Chipotle bowl for like $2?
Chipotle burrito for $2. It's like you buy 2 tacos, or you buy a taco or something, and the amount they put in it, you can just buy a tortilla and chuck it in.
And then it did so well, Chipotle had to like
They were losing money.
That's a selling point right there.
Yeah, and we're figuring out with that, like there was a bunch of techniques that worked that we were like, okay, the things that we used to think, and like she's replicating, like with her videos now, she goes, I have a system.
Okay.
I don't even have to think. It's just now finding something that's the same thing. But I said to her, I'm like, all right, we've figured that out for your little niche. How do we figure that out for, a client? If they want to talk about loans or real estate or, because
and it depends who they're talking to.
Yeah.
Because like it's like
how to get a Chipotle burrito for $2.
It's very broad.
It's gonna hook in everyone.
Yeah, because if you're in real estate, I'm thinking like, what are they, first time home buyer, second time home? Like like there's so many different, and you have to speak differently to every single person. Like, so as far as that, I'm interested in that Chipotle reel now. Like,
put it this way, when I hired Anna, I told her who my editor was, and I said this video, and she's like, like she'd seen it.
Is it shot like, how is it shot?
Basically,
like a vlog style, like
it's very fast paced. What do you say? It's like 30 seconds to 45 seconds.
20, 25,
Yeah, it's real quick, and it starts. It's a question.
Yeah,
and it's the Chipotle logo with her holding a burrito.
That's the hook. That's the the
you can get a Chipotle burrito for $2. What? That was what it was basically.
It's equivalent of like buying a house for $10.
Pretty much, yeah.
Yeah.
But then her storytelling, because she just saw like this whole Steal Like an Artist.
Yeah.
She saw someone else do the same video.
Yeah.
She was just like, well, that's interesting. You
But I can
shot
do
it
it
very
better.
boring.
Yeah.
I'll do it better. And that video had like 1 million, like the one that she ripped it from. And then hers gets across all 3 channels probably over 50 mil.
This is my question to you about that specific thing. It's like, so for a client, do you think, so they need to have a certain type of storytelling ability, right, for it to execute. Do you think you can teach that, or do you think at some point you just have to be just born with it?
Oh, it's teachable. It just is not quick. It's like anything. So here's a side story. I always was like, I want to be a singer. I want to know how to sing, but I don't have a good voice.
I heard you can learn how to sing.
Yeah, you can.
Yeah.
I started learning at 25.
Okay.
And within 3-4 years, I could sing okay.
Okay.
Now, am I great in terms of being like, I'll just bust out now? No. Also, I've been talking a shitload, which is terrible to try and sing after. But in the matter of, a couple of years, at 25, like, oh, you can't learn anything once you, like, kids learn shit so easy. No, it's not. They learn it so painfully.
Yeah.
I believe you can learn everything because, again, my ability to storytell is not always great.
Right.
Sometimes it's fantastic. Most of the time in real life, dude, it's fucking terrible at the moment. But it just takes a lot of time to be, and it's like anything, like, can anyone be a realtor? If they're motivated enough.
It feels like everyone's a realtor.
Yeah, I feel like we're like probably the only 3 in the whole Florida that are not realtors.
Yeah. I guess what I'm trying to ask is like, is there a way? Yes, we know it takes time, right?
Yeah.
But is there a way that you can systemize it to teach a client in a X amount of time, or no? They just have to.
It would do.
Like, what would be your pitch? Like, how would you offer that?
So, I mean, there's definitely systems because there's systems in ways humans connect with a story. There needs to be an underlying motif. There's usually 3 acts. We just now call Act 1 in short form as a hook.
Yeah.
Same shit. It's an Act 1. So it's like there are systems in making a story. And yes, you can teach it. Once you, like Mr. Beast, he has a system for like, he goes, I could tell you what to do in a video and you'll go viral. Like, he knows his system because he's like, here's the beats you do.
Yeah.
And yes, you can definitely teach a client.
They just got to be willing to learn, though.
That's the thing.
That's the hard part.
They have to put in the hours, because I think most of the time, and this is what I usually say to my clients, like I literally spoke to a guy today at the gym before we came here, and he's a guy who I was chatting to him in the sauna 12 months ago.
Yeah.
When I first got here. Add me on Instagram. So he's always seeing my shit. He does like installations of like sound systems. And they're fucking cool. Like, I'm like, dude, it's easy to make content for your shit. Right? He walked up and he's like, hey man, how you going? And I said to him, I'm like, why aren't you doing content? He's like, oh man, I just haven't got time, Yeah. And I go, I get it. He goes, I get referrals. I've got all this, I make enough money that I don't really need to.
Yeah.
But he wants to. And I said to him, like, so pay someone else to do it. And it was like this light bulb he hadn't thought of. He's like, he had it because, you just got to do it. Then you got to film it. Then you got to put it everywhere. And I'm like, yeah, money's just an amplifier of time, dude.
Yeah.
And he's just like, it was fascinating because so many people don't think that way. They don't think that way. And I was like, you pay someone else they do it, and you focus on what you do great, which is fucking sell. And literally he's like, so you do that? He goes, your company does that. I'm like, yeah. And he's like, sweet, we'll talk. Like,
what do you think about this though? I've dealt with the extreme opposite, where I'm like, hey man, like, you know, this is what I do. And he's like, nah, I create content on my own. I do it myself. And I'm like, yeah, that's why your business is failing, because you're too busy fucking worried about the content.
Yeah.
I'm like, dude, like, focus on your business. Let me deal with the content, and you focus on all these issues that you're having. And it's like, you got to get them to, because for the record, this person, his business is still failing. He hasn't listened to me. So, you know, but it's like, you got to kind of have them like see both sides. Like, pay someone to do what they do so you can focus on what you do, because either you're not going to do it or you're going to be too involved in it.
yeah. I usually just say to him, I'm just like, all right, if you paid me $5,000 and you did 2 hours of work, or 3, whatever, and it made you back, fuck, even 10 grand, play it safe. Okay, would you do it? And he goes, yeah, fucking oath I would.
Yeah.
That's usually what I say. And I'm like, now let's just say you save that $5,000, spend 20, 30 hours, you make back 5. Is that worth it? I'm like, you got to spend an extra 28 hours to make the same profit. They're usually like, fuck that. But I find the way in which I at least try and do sales with people is always like, you have to draw parallels with a lot of things. Sometimes it gets me in trouble because I'll usually do something crazy, some like real inappropriate one. I don't know why I go inappropriate all the time. Like the one that always gets me in trouble with the in-laws is they always have chocolate and shit in the house.
Yeah.
And I'm like, can you just not have it? They go, well, you know, you eat it all the time when it's there. And I go, because it's there. I go, can you just if it's not there, I don't want it. And then the next day I haven't eaten chocolate.
Yeah.
And they're like, well, it's nice if someone wants something. And they go, well, just practice self-control. And here's the parallel I always do with it. They hate it because they just think they think that's what I'm thinking about.
Yeah.
I go, all right, I'm loyal to my wife. I'm not going to cheat on her. But I'm going to probably like, let's say 3 times a week. I'm going to go to an event. There's some floozies. They're really attractive. And, you know, there's a couple of them that want to sleep with me.
Yeah.
I'm just going to go there. I'm not going to do anything because I have self-control. Would you say that that's okay? And they're like, no, that's different. I'm like, it's definitely different.
Yeah.
But it's also the same in terms of the moral of don't put yourself, like, why is it with this thing you say don't put yourself in temptation? But when it comes to chocolate, which I don't want to eat because I want to stay healthy, temptation's okay. Just practice self-control. And that's that's the way I usually try and find it with people. With sales is like I try and find a certain parallel. It's like, all right, well, why do you want to hire a staff member to do the jobs out there? Oh, well, I can pay them and they can, you know, for 30 grand a year, they bring in 70. All right. What's the difference between that and hiring someone to do your marketing? It's like because they don't work directly for them, they can't make that. They don't understand it in their business.
Yeah.
I think that's emotionally the biggest thing they don't understand. Well, you don't work for me, I'm just paying you. It's like, no, you're buying a staff member that's part-time.
Yeah.
And very fucking good at their one thing they're doing. I'm not coming in and doing your paperwork, doing your accounting. I'm doing one thing.
So you're getting a deal.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah. And that's what I usually say to them. I'm like, what you're paying me for a month, you're like, I'm learning. How do I say this? I converted someone this way. That's right. Say you hire someone full-time. For starters, that'll, like, if they're half decent.
And you got to train them.
Well, yeah. Well, say there's multiple options. You hire someone, now you got to train them. That's the blind leading the blind. You don't do marketing. You don't do videos. And you're training someone to do videos and marketing. Is that a good business choice?
And how much time is that taking?
Yep. Or you hire someone who is really good. They're going to cost this much because you're taking up a month of their time. Now outsource me. Also, they only learn from your mistakes and like your content. Now hire me. I've got X amount of clients. Let's say it's 10. I charge you this, which is going to be honestly, you're paying me for really 2-3 days a month. But I'm learning from my mistakes with this client, that client, this client. Like I'm getting 10 different companies, and what I learn from those, I funnel into you. That's what you're paying for. On top of not having to train me, I'm going to tell you what's going wrong with our stuff, which I'm learning from all these people. Yeah. I go, that's what you're buying. And that's usually what they go, like, fuck, okay, that makes sense.
Yeah. How do you deal with because this is something I dealt with a few weeks ago. Because like for your clients, how often do you guys shoot? Like 2-3 times a month? 4, 5? Once. Okay. So how do you perfect. So how do you navigate when someone says, I'm paying you $5,000 and you're just coming in for one time? Like, no, I need you to come in every day if I'm paying you top dollar.
I tell them that it's funny, I don't get that.
I got it the other day, and I kind of like what I positioned it. I'm like, dude, yeah, we're shooting 2 times a month, but you're not paying for that. You're not paying for the camera. You're paying for the distribution.
And that's usually what I tell them. It's like because one of my friends who's so good at editing videos, he's improving his storytelling now. He works full time for one guy. In a month, he makes what I make in 2 days. He's like, huh? Yeah. And his output. His output is twice the amount of content that I put out.
Yep.
The people that do say yes have no qualms at all. But what I said, I go to them, I'm like, here's what you're buying. You're not buying a video. Because I always try to remove being a commodity. It's like, you pay this, you get this outcome. I'm like, the commodity portion is you get this many short form videos.
Yeah.
The thing you're buying is you guys, let's use the home loan guy, the loan officer as an example. Focus on making loans. Focus on closing that shit.
Yeah. I'm
coming in and the umbrella of things, which is the value, you're getting someone who understands how to do hooks, how to do talking on camera. I'm going to teach you how to tonally move. Like, don't just be on a camera and be like, the market is down. I'm like, here's how I make you into like a charismatic person. Yeah. Here's how I'm like, all right, how you're saying that, I don't hear it. Do this, this, and this. You're buying that. You're buying the coaching of that. And it takes no extra time for me. Like, I'm there anyway.
Yeah.
And this is what's separating me and my team from being a videographer. Because one guy hit me up because he's just like, I ended up taking one of his clients and I charged, I think 4 or 5 times what he was paying, and they dropped him for me. And he's like, what? But I was like, you're buying that? It's the creative mind. When they experience it, I'm like, I'm creating an ecosystem that people come onto your page and they see you in a 3-dimensional space.
Right.
So like most of the time I'm like, they're not buying, like I don't like Ryan Pineda, for example, like his content, because I'm like, it's Ryan. He's 2-dimensional.
Yeah.
He's like the guy who has colorful hair.
Yeah.
But like with the teams that I get on board, I'm like, all right, I want to see Alex. I want to see Viri. I want you guys to come in because that's the environment that people see. And when it makes you, like, think of your favorite TV show, it's very rarely is it one character. Right. It's a character with a bunch of sub-characters.
Yep.
And I come in and I do that. I'm making your thing 3-dimensional. And because, in this case, Giovanni, there's a lot of people that aren't going to gel with you, Giovanni. Now, you're going to lose all those sales, but Viri, who speaks Spanish, she's in your ecosystem. She works with you. She's going to suck in and bring in all the Spanish clients.
Yep.
And they might come across your wall, see her video and be like, huh. And, and also it gives that 3-dimensional fun stuff where you see them interacting. I want to be friends. I want to be with them. They're buying that. But they don't even, that external thing, they don't see it. Where I'm like, oh, she's funny because of this. He's, like, quirky because of that.
They're too in it. Yeah.
There's that. The faster turnover because I've got an external editing team. It's super quick. And then also, we also distribute it because I'm just like, it takes us 20 minutes to schedule a post, I'm like, people that charge a couple, like hundreds and hundreds, I'm like, feels weird. I'm like, you write the copy, I'll edit some minor tweaks.
Yeah.
But I'm like, by and large, you guys just, you know, and most of the time they post it like on Instagram where the invite collaborator use. I'm like, I teach them how to do that. I'm like, you go do that.
Yeah.
Because like you have to be on it to do it.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of that stuff. But at the same time, I also say, I'm like, you're also simultaneously buying an excursion for the team for half a day. Because I'm actually only technically there for half a day.
Yeah.
To the point where it's like, I mean, all my clients go, dude, when are you coming back next? Because I come in, I'm fucking teasing them. I'm making fun, like funny
it's a whole experience.
Videos. Yeah, it's like they're buying all these things. It's not me coming in going, all right, what do you want to say? I'm like, oh, do this, blah, 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 blah.
Yeah.
And I think as well, because I'm packaging it that way, but also I'm enjoying it a lot because of multiple reasons. Yes, I'm making a lot of money from it. Giving back way more value, but, you know, I can passionately go in because I'm just like, fuck, I got to grind again. I'm like, no, I'm having fun.
Yeah.
And also when they start going, dude, this guy reached out to me, that girl reached out to me, like, oh, I was at this event, and they were like, oh, you're that person.
Yeah.
Makes me feel good too.
Yeah. That happened to me like this past week. One of my clients, we put out a reel collectively like 500K, but the right people saw it. And he got calls for like documentaries and like all this other stuff. And I was like, yeah, that's what I do it for, bro. Yeah. I was happy.
It's cool because it's like, I like what Russell Brunson says, which is people buy shit because of status or love. They're the only two things at the core of everything. And what we do is we help elevate that status. And I mean, one of my clients, she was in the middle of Wyoming, some town of like 8,000 people, and they're at some parade. And this contractor walks up to her and he's like, Hannah? And she's like, yeah, seen your content. Fucking keep it up. And like her and her boyfriend, who's also named Blake. I have 2 clients called Blake.
Okay.
Working on a third, no joke.
Blake.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
But they were there and they were just like, what happened? And I go, honestly, dude, it's happening more and more the more clients that I have. It's like, it's not even a surprise for me anymore.
Yeah.
But it's very weird.
Yeah.
You know, for some people.
But I mean, but again, back to the point I was saying earlier, like that of her getting recognized and why, like, even if there's not an immediate ROI, there's a brand awareness ROI. Yep. That they don't take an account for. Because now, okay, the guy recognized her from the content. Now he's more likely to buy if she.
Yeah. You know. She was geographically limited at the moment because she's a roofer here. Okay. But I mean, she makes back her money and then some. Yeah. But they also understand as well. It's like, how many times do they go and have a face-to-face, go to a networking group and this before they make a sale? It's like, it's the same thing, but you're doing this at scale now, you know?
From the comfort of your home or office or whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And again, you can reuse it. And the goal is always, like, with my stuff is like educate and entertain, like edutain. Yeah. But if I can make people laugh, like some of the shit we do is so dorky. But it's like you're dorky plus teaching them, and people are just like, that's funny. Yeah. You know, like, hey, we should catch up now.
It's almost like putting a lecture in a jingle in a way.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah.
Good. But no, it's just fun.
Yeah. Yeah. I just like getting results, dude. Like that's really like what really motivates me. Like when the guy called me about the documentary, I was like, yeah. I mean, I don't, because at this point it's like, I don't know how you see it, but I don't work for like the money. Like the money is a fuel. Money's a fuel that keeps things going and keeps everything moving. But I don't work for the money. I work for the results. That's really like my target. So
yeah. And that's what I think. Like I think now I'm so used to people going, 1, man, that was fun, my team's buzzing, and 2, I'm used to, did you know so-and-so came out and reached to me? I'm like, yeah. I mean, it still gives me that like, fuck yeah, it works. Yeah. But it is that point where I'm just like, yeah.
Let me ask you this: where do you see content going? Because like you said earlier, I'm also tired of the talking head content. Like, so where do you see it going? Do you think it's gonna go back to long form, even short form, or like, what is your opinions on it?
That is good. I I don't know. I heard Mr. Beast's manager talk about the shortfalls of in a creator economy. So this is separate to a business, but in a creator economy, short form doesn't build a community. So if you're trying to the short form hooks people in, it's always going to have a purpose, but it's back to that point of getting someone's attention is fucking hard.
It is hard.
It's very hard, and people don't realize there's a reason why people who have attention make a shitload of money. But the goal, I think all of them are going to have a purpose, and if you're doing just one, you're screwed. I agree. But if you had to do one and become very good, it'd be long form. Because you can build a community. But if you're someone like a business owner who you don't need to build community just yet, short form is a good, quick thing of getting some eyeballs. Yeah. Because, again, like if you're trying to close a loan or make a sale.
I think building community is definitely, I think everyone needs to, every business owner needs to in the long run.
Yeah. Well, it's like the podcast.
Yeah.
If I was just doing the podcast, probably not many people would know me.
Yeah.
But it's the short form that most people see. Like I have people come up to me, like I had some people in the industries around here, I'm used to knowing me because I've gone to all the heads and it's like how that trickle down effect. It's when it's someone on the street who's not in real estate or in like these business circles, when they come up to me, I'm just like, oh shit, it's starting to go a bit broader.
Yeah.
Like I was at Mercado and I'm having dinner. And the waiter walks up and I'm like, oh shit, sorry man, I got the card. He's like, no, I'm not getting your money. He goes, I just want to say I'm a huge fan. And I was like, thanks.
Yeah.
And I go, what episode do you like? He goes, oh no, I just see the clips.
There you go. Yeah.
So like without the clips, it's like, that's why most people that do podcasts like, oh, it doesn't work. Yeah. I'm like, oh, it works. You're just not doing it right.
Yeah.
You know?
How did that feel when the waiter recognized you?
It was, you know, it was funny. So it worked so well because my friend who I was telling you about who works full time for the guy, he was down visiting.
Okay.
And I'm trying so hard to pull him down here. And so I was having dinner with him and then some other guy who I randomly met that day. And so Josiah was like, what the fuck? And I go, dude, it's because I'm going, like right now I'm only focusing on Southwest Florida.
Yeah.
You know, like again, not going broad, not trying to be like, I'm going to be famous around the world. Like that is hard, dude.
Yeah.
But it's like, you know, the thing is be the most known person in Southwest Florida. It's just because I know that there's that byproduct of recognizability and then trust. And it's a lot easier. It's also less daunting to be like, I'm taking over a county.
Right.
Than I'm taking on the world. There's a big, that's a big mission.
Yeah.
And then the other guy, it was quite funny because the guy who was chatting with us for the first time, he went back to the gym and he was asking all the staff. He's like, is this Blake guy like a big deal or something? It was just perfect timing. I was like, bro, I'm a fucking nobody.
Yeah. Yeah, it's funny. The same thing happened to me one time. I was in Cabo. I was at the club. And some guy, I'm in the club, and the guy's like, he taps on me, and I'm like, I don't fucking know this guy. And he's like, yeah, man, like, I watch your podcast all the time, man. Like, good shit. And I'm like, and I was with some girl, and she was like, are you a big deal? Yeah.
Happens all the time.
Yeah. It was just so weird. But that, again, to your point, that's when I realized, like, the power of just content, period. Just, like, because you never know who's watching either.
No.
Like, just because you have X amount of views, that doesn't mean it hasn't hit the right person, you know? So.
Yeah. And video too, like, I mean, this is why I say I'm like, Ty Lopez said it a while ago about, you know, this was early internet where he's just like, just do an hour video of you just talking. I'm like, cool, that worked back then, not now. Yeah. But, you know, that whole thing of people will, what's the analogy Ty used to use? It was the average of like how long it takes for a girl to decide if she wants to sleep with you or not. It was like 7 hours of interaction.
Okay.
So his thing was like, they did, you know, how Ty talks, like, oh, they did these studies. It was like, and so it's like from 7 hours of quality time, the girl decides whether or not she wants to sleep with you. But if usually they decide they don't want to well before that 7 hours. So if you get to 7 hours, statistically, you're going to get laid.
Yeah.
And he goes, so there's multiple ways you can do it. 7 hours worth of photos, which is millions of photos.
Thousands of photos, yeah.
One, or you can do, quick math, 14 half an hour dates. or one 7-hour date.
Yeah.
Now, obviously, he's being facetious in a way, but it was that thing of a video is always going to exponentially build your relationship with a prospect or a community way faster than constantly posting photos, unless you're an Insta thought who has no personality. Then photos are your champion.
Yeah, photos work in your favor. I've read that too somewhere, and not Ty Lopez, but I read it like an actual statistic where they were saying like it was very, very, very similar to what you're saying. Something about video, like exponentially 7 hours of video or something like that. So I agree with that actually.
They can also, people can see your mannerisms. Like,
and they can tell right away if they like you or not.
And if you're being real or not. Unless you're a very good actor.
Yeah, most people aren't. So yeah.
No, most people are not.
Yeah.
That's why, what is it? That's why reality TV is so good. Because it is acted, but they're shit actors. And because they're shit actors, it's more believable.
Yes.
It's true.
Yeah.
I love those ones who are like, honey, I can't believe you said that. I'm like, okay, no one fucking talks like that. But yeah.
What was your opinion Southwest Florida when you first moved here?
Wow. Okay. It's funny, like it's definitely everything's so far away.
Yeah.
That was why I created the podcast, because I wanted people to come to me. Also to my,
so I assume back home you lived like a city?
Yeah.
Okay.
Let's put it this way. When my wife in the working day, because I would go to the gym, work, come back middle of the day, do some admin shit, go back to the gym in the afternoon when people train. She'd be like, hey, can we go to, what was it, Soul Burger? She goes, can we go to Soul Burger for lunch? And I'm like, that's 20 minutes away, no fucking chance. That's the life I lived in.
Yeah.
Then I get here and I'm like, 20 minutes again? That's my only thing, like, in terms of,
Yeah.
But in this area, I was excited because I knew, at least if I'm thinking locally initially, on a call I had yesterday with one of my new clients, you know, she moved here from Philadelphia and she's like, everyone here uses Facebook. Like, to timestamp how behind this place is with social media, most people in this area still network. Like, make sure you check in on Facebook. What's that, like 8 years behind? And so I realized that video was something that I'm like, it's going to be a hard slog in terms of, you know, the whole, it's better to be a buccaneer than a pioneer.
Yeah.
But I was like, what I noticed was I ended up becoming a pioneer here, at least for the local businesses, for creative content that if I'm in LA, people are like, yeah, that's normal.
Yeah, it's normal, yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
So that was my initial reaction. But again, it's hard to, because I knew nobody. And I think that
How did you start? Yeah, like...
it was the classic, the networking and meeting people, slow and painful. You buy into some networking things. My budget was fucking bee's dick, so I wasn't buying into high level people. Not disrespecting the people that were there, but it was like when I told them my price point, which at the time was 30% what I charge now. Yeah, that's a lot of money. Yeah, and I was like, oh, okay. And then what shifted for me was when I started the podcast. Because, again, my thing was like, I'm wasting so much time. I'm like being someone telling clients, video is great. This is what you do to scale your business. No one ever asked me this, but I know I would. Cool. Do you do it? Well, no, but why would I buy from you? So my thing was like, I need to be the one that's leading the charge in this area. And at least the real quick way is to do some, do the podcast. Okay. And then in a matter of 3 months, it was like my whole life shifted. And then 6 months, even bigger of a shift. Now to where it's like, I mean, this quarter, so last quarter, I made what I made in the last 2 quarters. And then this quarter, I'll make in the last 2 quarters as well. So like, it's increasing by double. Yeah,
that's good.
Because it all does come down to the podcast. And also then, I mean, I got talking head stuff as well and other things mashed in. But that was what really skyrocketed me. And also like buying Tanner's course, like that was a big investment that most people don't take.
Yeah.
Which was, you know.
Yeah.
But it was I made a certain amount of money, and it was like money in, money out for that month.
Yeah.
You know, like.
Yeah.
Because it was just like, how do I get to the next level?
What were two things? Do you ever take the time, and I ask everyone this, do you ever take the time to zoom out and look at like where you were, maybe even on Australia compared to like where you are now?
Yeah, constantly.
Yeah.
And that's the hard thing, I guess, with like the struggles like with the family. Like again, the family are the ones that will support and destruct you the most.
Yeah.
You know, it's like they're the biggest champions when it's starting to go good. And then if there's a little bit of uncertainty, they're just like, are you sure? Like it's from a place of concern, but it's detrimental concern, not constructive concern.
Yep.
And so one thing, I've had to zoom out constantly because they're really concerned. Like, you know, I still live in my in-laws' house because, I mean, shit, we moved a year ago and I started my own business. You need to have 2 years of income to prove a home loan. So I'm always having to be like, guys, think of someone you could even think of that you know, that in their first year of meeting and knowing nobody is making 6 figures. First year, you know? And now that's 6 figures with also, I'm paying all my expenses minus rent, and constantly trying to meet people and doing shit like this, which this doesn't make sense to them.
Yeah.
It now does because they're like, oh crap. But when I first started it, because again, I had $3,000 come in from my first client.
Yeah.
3,000 went out for the podcast.
Okay.
So it was like camera, lights, boom, boom, boom.
Okay.
Because I'm like, this is what I have to do next. They're like, Blake, you just made that money. I'm like, yeah. And this will make more money. And it has. It's made way more money than that 3. But, you know, it's the common question, I guess, that what my father-in-law asked me when I first started. He goes, do you really think someone's going to listen to 2 hours? And I was like, no.
Yeah.
I go, but it's not about that.
Yeah.
Like, I'm surprised when people go like, dude, I listened to the whole thing. I'm like, wow, you have that much. But I listened to that with Rogan, like, you know?
Yeah.
So definitely the zoom out's important. And I've noticed you do it a lot
Do it
as
a
well.
lot, yeah. Because I'm like, and I get that from just like people around me. Like I'm like really hard on myself. So I like, but you gotta think of who I was around too, bro. Like when you're around guys like Tanner, it's like it's hard not to like
Compare.
Bro, I remember one day he was like, "Yeah, I made 40 grand today." I was like, "Oh, great, great." So so it's
but
hard.
you need those people to pull you forward.
Yeah.
Like I said, my best mate, he's how old are you?
31.
34. He's 33. There's a casualness to that money.
Yeah.
My friend was like, I'm gonna have to bleep this out. Mark this. An hour 40. Bleep this out. He was like, yeah, like we make all right money. And I'm like, what do you mean? And he goes, probably like 2-3 million a month. I'm like, huh?
Yeah.
What?
Yeah.
But there was no bragging. It was the same as me going, this is water.
Yeah.
And it was like, I wasn't even a like, yeah, there was maybe a little bit of comparison, but I was just like, holy shit, that's capable, that's possible.
Yeah, that's exactly.
You know?
So before I was running around with T, is like I was always like, if I can make 6 figures doing video, I'm good. That was like my goal. But then after I got around him and I saw everything, I'm like, oh no, it's not enough.
Yeah,
I could do more. If he could do more, granted, like right, these people are all smart people, but at the same time, I'm like, he's not doing anything that I can't do. Like if he can do it, it's like, bro, I can do it.
Yeah.
So like you said, it shows you that you're capable.
Yeah.
You know, so.
And it's also like, you hear it all the time, is like, it's the people that you're around.
Yeah.
Like, again, I tell my in-laws what I made last month. And they're like, and you don't think you can you can afford you don't think you can get a home loan? And I'm like, that was 1 month.
Yeah.
Next month's a whole new slate, baby. You know? And I go, also, it's like, but I'm not putting all that money into a house. there's portions that go here, there's a family, there's reinvestment, there's paying staff, there's this. It's like the gross number sounds fantastic, but it's not, I'm not doing this for a house yet. Side note though, I'm designing our first house.
There we go.
And it's fucking sick. We're basically, I'm building this in my backyard. Like we're looking at a certain land. I really hope we can get this one because it's like an acre. But instead of me having to travel 20 minutes, because I hate that. The back of the lot is going to be this as a 2-story. So 150, plus a rooftop. So it's like you got podcast studio, office space at the top.
Yeah.
I really want to slip and slide off the edge. But it was like, that's those steps that a lot of people, unless you talk, like, I mean, Hormozi talks about it. A lot of my friends talk about it. It's like, no, how do you buy your time? So it's like, okay, like last night I had to send some files to my editor, but it was I couldn't do it, so I had to pick up the in-laws, but I had to export the proxies first. And I was like, fuck. So I went to the airport, drove back home. And because I had to drive 20 minutes here to do a 30-second press a button to send it and 20 minutes back, I was like, fuck, I'll do it in the morning, which put us back 2-3 hours. I was like, dude, I don't want that.
Yeah.
So it's, how can I build an office that's far enough away, a walk, that I'm leaving my house, I'm away from the family, but it's a 30-second walk back. And that's what my goal is to, I always said to say, she goes, you just want big homes. And I'm like, no. I'm building a compound.
Yeah.
I want this here, that here, and efficiency stuff. And it's all possible. Like, you don't have to go too crazy. Yeah. But that's what we're looking at doing for the next chapter. And I'm like, fucking excited.
Yeah, man. I hope it works out for you. Yeah. So anyways, back to the zooming out thing. I think everyone should be doing that. Like a lot of guys don't. I think it's important because, I was reading something the other day, dude, where they were saying like, an entrepreneur wrote this too. He was saying like, if you are an entrepreneur and you tie yourself to your success, he said you're always going to be emotionally unstable because success comes and goes, right? Like like you said, 1 month you're up, 1 month you're down. But if you tie yourself to the system or the journey of everything you've learned to get there, he said you will never be emotionally unstable because, like, if you constantly look at like what you've learned and what you've overcome, you'll always feel a sense of gratitude, even on your bad months. So that's kind of like a mental shift that I've been trying to do recently. So
has that been hard for you?
Yeah, fuck yeah. When you don't hit a certain number in a month, you're like, when you're used to hitting this number, you don't hit it. I'm like, fuck, what I do wrong? But constantly I have to like, my low is not everyone's low. Like even on my bad month, I probably made more than
it might be someone's high.
Right. Yeah. So it's always perspective.
Yeah, and so how long? How far are you looking back in order to achieve that grounding?
I usually look just this year. I try not to look back too much. I try just to look back like January to now and like everything. That works for me. Everyone's different, but that's usually what I try to do. That way it's still like new and it's still like, because I don't know, I feel like if I look back too much, it's like it's not even the same person, so it doesn't even count at that point,
I remember when I was 15.
Yeah, right, exactly. Well, yeah. So
what are your plans like in the future? Because do you used to work close with Tanner?
No. We're still homies, but no, we don't want to work together now.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. No, I was actually just at his house like a few days ago. But
the one in Miami?
Yeah.
That's a nice place.
You been there?
So when I was doing Gentry's, I just went up the elevator, but I didn't go in because Tanner was on calls and stuff.
Yeah.
But I was just like, fuck. Okay, I can you can see just enough through the glass doors. I was like it seems like from what I could see, it's exactly what I want to achieve, which is his pet house or whatever is his little compound.
Yep.
He doesn't go far. He doesn't have to do anything.
Yep.
It's that exact thing that is, I guess, what every entrepreneur's goal should be. It's like, dude, I don't have to go far. I get shit done. I have more time. Great.
Yeah.
And it looks sleek in there too.
Yeah, I actually lived there with him for a few months.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it was dope. But
And you were in Puerto Rico with him for a bit too.
yeah, I was in Puerto Rico. We lived in a penthouse over there too, actually. Yeah, that was dope, man. That was good. I was Are you into Dragon Ball Z and shit like that?
Pokemon.
Pokemon.
But
okay.
I appreciate.
But you know a little bit of like
Yeah.
Okay, so like me in Puerto Rico, I was telling my friend the other day, that was like me in like the hyperbolic time chamber. Like I don't know if you know what that is. Like
No.
So in
You mean like a hyperbaric chamber or hyperbolic?
Nah. So like in Dragon Ball Z, the hyperbolic is like where like all the fighters go to train, and there's like no sense of time, no sense of sound, no sense of anything. It's just like a room where you just train. So that's like what I like consider Puerto Rico as, because like I didn't know anyone, so I was just me and him and just grinding it out all day every day. So yeah. And
so he ends up moving back. It's funny. I heard Hormozi talk about a friend of his, and he was talking about a friend that went to Puerto Rico every weekend. Yeah. And then he was like, do you think you stay in Miami and make money? And I was like, is that him?
Actually, yeah, I think it was him, because I think he told me that too.
He's like, you're wasting your time going back and forth.
Yeah, because we were in Puerto Rico, and like we would just fly back every fucking week, like every other week. He would fly back. I would stay. Cause I'm like, dude, I'm in Puerto Rico, like I'm chilling. Yeah. But he was like, you know, he has like people in Miami, so he would always fly back. And then one day we were just talking. He was just like, yeah, bro, like I'm over this shit. I'm about to just move back. I was like, all right.
That's probably Hormozi's advice.
Yeah.
I heard a clip when he was talking about it, and I just put the two dots together. Like I was like, because he just goes, you know, I have a friend of mine, and you know, he was doing this.
I think
I fucking guessed that guy.
It was because we made a YouTube video out of it too. He was like. He told me, he was like, yeah, Hormozi told me da-da-da, and he was like, bro, let's talk about it. And then we just cut the camera on, we made a YouTube video. Yeah. That was funny.
Well, it's true though. It's like, you know, if you can cut out some time and figure out a way to make more money to buy that time back.
Yeah. And at the end of the day, I think it also boils down to like, yeah, dude, you can save all this money living in another country, but like when none of your people are in that country, it's just like, yeah, what's the point? Like, is this why you got rich for, to do this type of shit?
Yeah. Oh, and because in that video, Hormozi is saying like, if tax is the one thing that's important, why do so many rich people live in California and live in New York? The highest tax rate. Like, why? If that's the one metric that you're trying to figure out how to avoid, do what the rich people are doing. Yeah. And it's funny that we talk about this, because that ties back to, I guess, the original question that you asked earlier with Southwest Florida. The only thing that I've got at the moment, which I'm struggling with, is finding people that are like-minded in the realm that I am in. Yeah. That's the biggest thing. Yeah. Because
it's slow here.
It's slow here. The people, like all the videographers that I do know are those ones that we talked about earlier, that's like they're grinding constantly. Like, yeah. One of my friends, who I won't mention on this, he's been doing it for years. And I remember a few months ago, he was like, yeah, I think I'll make $100,000 this year. And I was like, yeah. I'm like, dude, I've been here for a year and I'm already doing that. Yeah. Like, what do you mean? And I'm trying to pull him out of it. I'm like, stop chasing these pennies. And it's the same thing. Like, yeah, you're right. Like, I think you're very good at business. Like, this is his words. I've still got way more to learn. But I can't pull him out of that thing because he's so used to chasing the pennies. And I get it. It's scary. Like, you know.
He's probably, and I don't know him, but he's probably mistaking like being busy for being productive. That's the issue. And I've dealt with that.
I guess with what we do and the way you and I do it is, there is uncertainty. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like, you've still got to go grind and find. Yeah, it's still, like, I don't want people to like watch my clip and like be like, it's still a grind. Yeah. But it's my thing is like grind with intention to build. Don't just grind just to grind. Don't be busy and not productive. I think Hormozi talks about it too. Like, yeah. Well, my father-in-law has a great saying, which is don't confuse action with results.
Bingo.
Yeah.
Bingo. Yeah.
And it's true. But sometimes the results require a fuckload of action that people are like, you're just busy. It's like, no, I have to get this done.
Yeah. Yeah. You know what, and maybe you deal with this too, when they're like, just do it tomorrow. I'm like, no. If I do it tomorrow, it's going to set me back this, and this. Yeah. It's like, I got to do it today.
I don't get that from them. It's more, they see how hard I'm working. And it's just like, it's hard because they're at the end of their cycle of like business, and like they're in their 60s.
Yeah.
And so I get the feedback all the time is like, man, if you knew how easy it was to make money, you wouldn't stress as much. And I'm like, okay, one, this is coming from someone who's built the business, and now you can sit back to a degree. I think you forgot about where you came from.
Yeah, I don't think it was like that when they first started off.
Nope. Not even fucking close. Yeah. And I go to them like, you're forgetting the origin story of this, which is it was a full reset for a 33-year-old a year ago.
Yeah.
A full reset. And not only that, it was a full reset plus having to pay for a family.
Yeah.
For the, like, I go, I have to freaking work. And
how scary was that? Or was it, or you?
I've always had this blind faith in myself mixed in with like complete fear. It's a weird thing. My poor wife deals with it always.
So it's like blind faith mixed in with fear?
Yeah, so it's like, I know the pieces that are required. Do I believe that I could take always better action? 100%. I think anyone who has visionary goals always is like, I could be doing more and more effective.
Right.
But it's, I'm trying to, you're always trying to like that yin and yang thing. If you're too optimistic, you're delusional because you're completely forgetting the other 50% of reality, which is shit happens.
Yeah.
But if you're full on negative, you're also delusional because you're forgetting that there's so much shit that's working.
Yeah.
And so I'm always like, what I'm working for is like what you were mentioning, which is there's still that emotional swing a little bit, but I think the emotional swing is mixed in with like what I'm trying to achieve. And it's so crazy. Like, again, this month, Touchwood's on track for being a record month, and last month was a record month. But I still have that like, fuck mentality.
Yeah. I deal with that too. Like there's months when, when I sit and I look and I make the more money than I've ever made in a year at certain jobs, whatever. But there's times when I still feel like, am I doing the right thing? Like, I'm doing all right? Like, can I do it again? Or like, so.
It's definitely, it's like that. It's funny how quickly a reset happens in terms of when you're, like, you hear people like Tanner, even both the Tape Boys, they're like, when you get stuck in the doing, the results happen, you don't even realize. Like I said, I had 1 week where it was like, if I achieved 75% of that in a month back home, so that's only just over a year ago, I would have been like, fuck, I'm killing life. I'm killing life, man.
Yeah.
And we were just so stuck in doing, and I was just like, hold on. Like, it was like a week later that it hit when I did the conversion to Australian dollars. I was like, oh, fuck. Like, that just blew past me.
Yeah.
So, but with your, like, are you having the swings at the moment still, or like what is?
Yeah, I went through it like last week. I had like a little mental roadblock, and I started like kind of questioning myself, and I don't know. I was just questioning myself. Then I just got fed up, and I was just like, "Stop being a fucking pussy, just do it." Then I just did it, and I started landing some things, and I was like, "Oh, okay." I mean, it's normal, dude. It's gonna happen. It's gonna, especially if you just like start failing. Like, it was certain deals I was trying to close, and I kept like. After another, it was like 3, 4. I was like, "Fuck!" I was like, "What the fuck?" I was like, "I know my shit. What the fuck?" And then I was just like, had that Tanner's voice, like, "Bro, stop being a pussy. Just do it." Yeah. So.
Well, it is funny because it is like that for sure, and I think that maybe that's another reason why most videographers struggle, and why they chase the peanuts is because it's constant small bits of dopamine.
Right.
All right. Cool. I made $300 today, $200 today.
Right.
$150 today.
Right.
Whereas to be like, all right, I made $5,000 this year. Oh, this week, and filming wise, it was a week's work.
Yeah.
That requires 3 weeks of not having money, or at least money coming in and having a mini dopamine hit. And instead, like what you said, because it was the same with me. Like in in the time I've been with Tanner's thing, we came up with a product which is on brand with what I do anyway on a 3-month thing. But for me, selling 1 month, the re-up rate always ends up 4, 5, 6 months anyway.
Yeah.
Like, sorry, my current clients are all on their 4th month.
Okay.
Or they're starting out, but I don't have any drop-offs. But selling it on a 3-month basis is a very hard sell because I got to overcome a lot more hurdles.
Yeah.
Whereas if you're like, all right, this month is this. Do it. Next month, let's go. Next month. It's a lot easier.
Yeah.
And I was having calls, and George, who's my coach, he's just like, dude, you're very good at talking to people. It's just you're closing now. And I go, yeah, but there was that block. And I was like, dude, it's just not working for that price point because there's also me. I'm like, this is a big sell.
Yeah.
Which is my fault.
Yeah.
But the second I changed it back to a month on a more premium to what I normally charge, close the next one. And then we recalibrated to a thing that's a little bit more scalable as well. Literally 4 days ago, next call, closed it. And you're just like, oh, fuck. But also that those calls were also in line with, I just went to Tanner's event.
Yeah.
I spoke to Gentry.
Yeah.
So I had some real awesome insight that I hadn't had before that because absorbing like the categories and stuff that they have, for me, I could be better at it, but it doesn't resonate in terms of like chatting it out like I did with Gentry on the podcast.
Right.
And he's like, what you're saying is this problem, recalibrate. And I was like,
Yeah.
oh.
Yeah.
And then doing the script and actually not being a dipshit and being like, I've got this. And I actually followed a script and it was like, oh,
this shit works.
You know? But also the script was great. But then the closing at the end, again, because of like the 2 weeks prior, the conversation with Gentry and listening to Tanner's in-person example,
Yeah.
that ability to push harder than I normally would, I wasn't afraid of that anymore because Gentry's thing, which was just like this light bulb moment for me, was I was talking about how Tanner closed. I'm like, fuck, it's a bit aggressive.
Yeah.
But I can see how it works.
Yeah.
I was complimenting him. But even with Gentry, he goes, but see how you label that as aggressive. He labels that as like we label that as I care, and I'm making sure you get it.
Yeah.
And it was just this, oh fuck, and I'm like, I do that all the time in my life with everything else.
Yeah.
Like, you know, oh, you're complaining about your weight. Go to the fucking gym. You know, like I'm aggressive.
Yeah.
But I'm also be like, dude, just do it. And it was such this light bulb moment with their advice where I was like, that's why I buy the course. You know, it's not because I want to absorb everything, but if I get, 5 nuggets, shit, even 1 or 2, that can make a shitload more money for me.
Hell yeah, that's what it is.
Personality shift, like I'm buying those moments.
Yeah,
you know.
Yeah, that's what it is because I was the same way. I'm like, bro, like people pay for this shit. But then like when I saw him in action and I saw like how everything clicked, I'm like, okay, I get it. You're paying. It's a program, but you're really paying for like.
Access,
like community. You're paying for like the pushes, like keep going, bro. Like whether it's in sales or whatever, like yes, yeah. I get it.
And it makes sense too. Like again, my best friend from back home, he gives me advice also because he's not attached to the outcome. Advice from family is hard because they're attached to the outcome. So, whereas he will be just like, what is it? He said one thing to me, which was really, and the way he says it, it's not confronting. It's just like, this is what I'm seeing. And he was just like, why do you want to do videos? I was like, I like it. He goes, I think you want to be a podcaster more than anything else. There was a very big element of truth to that. I do like the videos as well. But I definitely love that little bit more.
Yeah.
But also the byproduct with the stuff that I do that is paid. I also love seeing people feel good about the work that I've done from the external things. But just that, the way in which I receive his advice, because again, he's making buttloads of money and had all these different successes in 4 different businesses at 32.
Damn.
His dad was the entrepreneur of the year in Australia when we were 18.
Oh, wow.
They built a $250 million company. Bleep that out. But So but again, he had his dad as a mentor.
Yeah.
Entrepreneur of the Year for the whole of Australia.
Yeah, bro.
As a mentor. And then to see him go through that stuff all through his 20s to now he's just like, yeah, we make a lot of money, but I don't give a shit. Like he so cares about it, but he also doesn't give a shit. Because I remember when he was 18, he said something about his parents. He goes, they could go to zero when they make money back. Like we're not worried.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because they're invested in themselves as executors, not the assets that they've bought.
It's funny. I asked Tanner the same thing one day. I was like, bro, what if you lose? He's like, I'll make it all back.
Yeah.
And I don't know if you feel like that. I feel like that now too, to a certain, obviously not fucking millions. I'm not there, but at least like
you can get back to this point you're at right now.
Yeah, like
you've done that road.
Yeah, like if someone were to tell me like, yo, you lose everything and can you make 10 grand in a month? I'm like, yeah, bro.
Yeah.
Just, So at least I'm there. So like, and there is a certain confidence, like, and just overall just solidness, bro, that you get like with investing in yourself. Like,
yeah,
just the skill set that you do. Hormozi talks about it all the time, like skill stacking. Like when you stack skills and like you do sales, marketing, this and the third, like there is a point where you're just like, bro, I'm gonna be good no matter what. So, yeah.
There's also another thing too, is like people don't understand how hard something is until they've done it.
Yep.
Like you can sort of hypothesize and conceptualize like, that would be so hard. Like I look at Cirque du Soleil people. I can do a bunch of stuff, but I know enough of how hard it's been to be where I'm at.
Yeah.
And then look at what they do and go, holy crap. People that don't do anything close to what I do, like just, average gym goers.
Yeah.
They call, like my nickname at pretty much most gyms I go to is Cirque du Soleil. And I'm just like, bitch, I ain't even close to it. Like, what are you talking about?
Yeah.
But it's that ignorance that they don't even know what it's like to do a fraction of a step. I know what it takes to do probably 8% of what these people can do.
Yeah.
And but even that, I have no idea how hard it is to be there.
Yeah.
And it's the same with like, if we were to go back to zero, we know how hard it was to get here.
Yeah.
But we've made those, I guess, neuron transmission connections that it's like, go again.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think yeah, bro. I think like, for example, like I don't know if you get this, but it's like, like it's not hard to do a podcast. I can just turn on the mic and just ask people a bunch of random questions, but like crafting the conversation, even like timing it, even like knowing like what, like earlier when you like clip that, like when you already know like what certain things, like bro, that stuff takes time. People don't get that.
Yeah. Well, that's what we're going through now. Like I'm teaching Anna how to find moments in podcasts. People don't realize that's hard.
That's
and
really
then
hard.
Finding the moment and then making it more of a moment.
Yeah.
Like
that. What's funny? That right there is like my selling point when I deal with clients, because they all say the same shit. They're like, oh, I can hire some kid overseas to do this shit for $2. And I'm like, yeah,
do it.
Do it. They can probably put the words on the clip, but they don't know American or English nuance enough to know what is the moment and how to highlight that moment. Yeah. And then what to do with that moment. So I'm
also
like,
what's relevant from an empathetic level. Like, I mean, I know what clips benefit the client or the person opposite me. I know what clips benefit me. I know also how you can cut it. I could cut to you listening, and our listening face is always resting bitch face, unless we have some weird fucking smile.
Yeah.
But I could edit it to manipulate how someone perceives either one of us.
Yep.
So if I want someone to laugh at something I said that you might not have laughed at that moment, I quickly cut to a different part that you laugh, and they go, fuck, what Blake said was funny.
Yeah.
Or the opposite is like, because I've shown my wife sometimes, I'm like, watch how I change this whole clip with one thing that I can slide in. And I cut to me just listening like this. All of a sudden, I don't like what that person's saying. Even though I'm listening and I'm enjoying it in here.
Yeah.
But it completely shifts how someone perceives the thing. Like, there's other little things too. Is like, all right, if I'm doing one that benefits my client, I also want to make sure that people see that they're on my podcast. So I'll quickly show them that I'm listening to them.
Yeah.
Like all those little things that people don't realize, where I go, you're paying me and my team for this because here's our real goal without making it look obvious. And as well, like talking on a podcast, it's like, I mean, you look back. I mean, I love watching my podcast back because there's so many moments where I'm like, shut up, Blake. Or, you know, like, oh, that was really cool. Like hearing our conversation a second time. There's so much stuff I pick up where I'm like, fuck, oh yeah.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. No, it's funny. I edited a clip for a client, and then he watched it, and he's like, now I understand why girls in reality shows that say they edit it to make them look bad. I'm like, yeah, bro, it's a real thing. Yeah.
You can really restructure reality. Like, I mean, this is when I realized, like, I'm a massive advocate of people filming themselves if they can, like a podcast or even vlogging, but then you have to go through the edit.
Yeah.
Because I'll like edit our vlogs back in the day. I see in between takes because I'm just like, you know, Stace, hurry up. I know I'm annoyed, but I'm just like, oh, I can see how that's fucking rude. And like I'd be editing and I come in, I'd be like, hey, I'm so sorry for today. And she's like, what are you talking about? And I'm like, good, you don't remember. Because third person is completely different.
Yeah.
You know? But then again, it's like, this is what I say to Stace. I'm like, just so you know, I'm recreating our history. It's not all accurate because you're going to watch back those moments and be like, oh, that happened. And I'm like, it actually never happened. But our brain starts, you know, like those that
piecing things together.
And it's like, oh, that definitely happened. And I have to remind her, I'm like, just so you know, that's not actually how it happened. But it was boring, the reality version.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. Damn, bro, you make me want to vlog now. I'm hearing you.
Dude, I vlog, come get involved in my shit, dude.
I vlog now, but I vlog like it's not my life. It's like my business life. So it's like I'll get off a sales call and then I'll vlog. I'll like pick it apart. I'm like, damn, I should do this. I should do that. Like when I close a good deal, I'll turn the camera on and talk. Like I document more of my journey because like Hormozi said, I want to watch it in like 10 years, like when I hit my goals and shit. But I should vlog more like my day and stuff.
It's so time consuming though.
It is.
Like, and that's what I was saying to my wife as well. Was I go to her, I'm like, me editing our vlogs isn't work. I'm not getting paid. So when you're like, oh, you're always working. That doesn't, you take that out of the equation. You got to remember, I am proactively making a memory. And that takes so many hours. Like I said, the birth vlog, 60 hours of editing, like a week and a half of a standard job for one video that's 14 minutes.
Did you get paid off? Did you make money off that video?
Nah. It's like, so this is where we broke it down. So it's had like 80,000 views. It's got very good click-through rate, but it's got, this is where like the title doesn't align with the story. We hook people in with the water birth and but what the real story is the story leading up, like our relationship leading up to, at that moment, the pinnacle of our relationship of our first child's birth.
Okay.
So that's really the story. So people are clicking on for the water birth, but then they're like, I didn't come for this story, and they skip right to the end. So like retention's terrible in terms of the mass numbers because they didn't come for what they were given.
Yeah.
Because you look at the graph and it like dips off at. It's funny when I looked at the graph, I know the moment they dipped off, and it's the exact like to the second. I was like, boom, I fucking know, and they just skip right to the water birth.
Damn.
But I'm not worried about it because, again, the people that are like my friends, family and stuff, they're just like I said, they cry. They're like, holy shit. Because what happens is it starts with the water birth and then I'm like, sorry guys, just got to rewind to this. Like,
okay.
So it's like, it kind of like, but again, I learned, I'm like, okay, that doesn't work unless you pretense it. But what do you call it? Then it cuts in from, because our daughter was born 3 years and 8 hours after the minute that Stacey and I met, which was weird.
Okay. Yeah.
So like literally the same date, 3 years apart.
Yeah, that's freaky.
Freaky shit.
Yeah.
And then it goes through. So as she's in labor, like you see her in labor at our house, and it cuts between present day, a moment in our history, and then as that labor's developing, you get taken through our relationship on those 3 years until the pinnacle of the birth. But by the end of it, it's like people go like, I feel like I've known you for 3 years.
That was good. That's a really well. Sounds like a really well edited story.
I hope so.
Yeah. No, I'm gonna watch it after this.
But I was like, you don't know that until you're in the editing suite.
Yeah.
Because I was like, originally it was linear. We met, we did this, we did that. And I was like, 1, too long, 2, too boring.
Yeah.
And then also there was so much, what I realized was Stacey being in labor, there's a threshold of how long I can watch this before I'm uncomfortable and I'm not going to watch it anymore.
Okay.
So that's why I ended up doing the different strategy of, instead of linear, it was boom, back. It was, here's the next point of the labor. All right, you're getting uncomfortable. Don't worry, we'll go back to a good feeling. Labor again, get uncomfortable. Let's go back to another memory. And so I'm just constantly cutting out of that emotion that I don't want you to feel too much of, because I know that you're just being like, I'm out.
That was a master class on what goes on the mind of an editor, a video editor. And people don't know, bro. People think it's easy.
Yeah. Well, and the thing too is as well, like when you're in it, sometimes you don't like, there's a method of a level of empathy that you need to cut off your emotion, which is fucking hard.
Yeah.
Because like Stace was like, Blake, I just feel like you cut out too much of the labor, and I feel like, people don't understand how hard it was. She was getting messages going, dude, some of that stuff was so hard to watch.
Yeah.
She's like, really?
Yeah.
She's like, you cut out 99% of it. I'm like, yeah, could you imagine if I kept in 1 more percent? That's double what they saw.
Yeah. And I think that is the reason why a lot of people shouldn't do their own content.
Yeah.
Because you need someone else to do it so they can cut all that stuff out. Like,
yeah. Because they're not emotionally invested in it.
If they're too emotionally invested into their own stuff, and then my hair's in my face, or and at the end of the day, it's like, bro, nobody cares. No one's even looking at that stuff. Like, just put it out.
Bert Kreischer does a good saying, like he was doing his movie or whatever, and he was watching it, and he's just like, I did this, this, and this. And I think his wife said to him, it's because you were looking at yourself, mate. Well, she obviously didn't say mate, but she was like, no one else was looking at you.
Yeah.
And he was like, huh. She goes, we're not cutting it, because she helps me with the edits and stuff. Yeah. She's like, we're not cutting it because no one saw what you saw.
Yeah.
Which is a common thing for a lot of people.
Yeah, they get too in their head about it.
Yeah.
They care too much.
We better wrap it up. It's been like 2 hours and 15, dude.
Damn.
So everyone, look, I've been following you for a minute. Now I feel like hopefully we're friends.
Okay.
But definitely, like, look, his resume is insane. It's funny. This is proof. Like, I don't view him as competition. Which
no.
It's like what like Rogan says about the comedians. He's like, get them all on, get them sharing. Like, I love what you do too. Like, it's cool. I want to see more.
Of what exactly? Just.
I think, like, because I've only really seen a lot of your, like, the talking head stuff, the longer form. I haven't had a chance, but just because it's not on your socials, I'd love to see, like, some other stuff you've got that's different outside of that, because I know you do it for other people.
Yeah. I should share more of that. I have a ton of it. I just don't post it.
Yeah?
Honestly, yeah. I'll start, though. Yeah, and as far as, like, the competition things, like, bro, I feel like there's enough.
There's so much work out there, dude.
And at the end of the day, it's like we can't. No one person could take everybody as a client.
Well, not only that, I want to do shit with you.
Yeah.
Because it's like I said, like there's it's what's that saying? It's like, if you want to go fast, go alone. If you want to go far, go together.
Yeah.
And it's like, even with my editor and my friend, I'm always just like the beast, Mr. Beast psychology, where he's like, if 3 of us make 1 mistake, we get 3 lessons. Mm-hmm. If 1 of us makes a mistake, I get 1 lesson. And it's like, it's constantly learning stuff, which is, because there's so much stuff that, I see what you talk about, and I'm just like, fuck it. Like, you also articulate shit that I'm already thinking, but I'm like, fuck, that's so obvious once he says it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I've worked with enough like entrepreneurs and business owners to know, like, they don't look at content the way we look at content. So like, bro, so many times I'll like pitch something and they'll just shoot it down to where I gotta learn like, okay, I just gotta say it like this.
Yeah.
Or I gotta articulate like that. So that's where all that stuff comes in. And radio too. So.
And what's up?
And radio too. Radio taught me like talking and stuff like that. Yeah.
Well, it's like there's a guy who's on. He's Australian, but he's Japanese descent, I think.
Yeah.
He's on Insta, and his whole thing is about how to be a public speaker. He had a great one, which was, what was it? Record yourself talking. Then the homework is, it's like you transcribe what you say. Have a look at how many ums, ahs, yeah, buts, and buts that don't serve what your speech is, and highlight them. And you'll be like, oh shit, that's a lot. The second thing is turn off the video and just listen. Is there a tonality? Is there just like you're talking kind of like this?
Yep.
And then he goes, then mute it and just watch it and see what you do. Like, oh, why am I so still? What am I doing? My face, I look like I'm dead.
Yeah.
And he goes, then you get better at all those individual things, and together you become this extremely good talker.
It's funny. That's what I do. That's what I do for all my edits, like for all my client stuff.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Like I'll listen to it with no video, and I'll just hear the audio. I'm like, okay, change this here, change that there. It sounds good. Then I'll watch like the video on mute. Then I'll watch it on mute again, but with the captions, and I'll read the captions. And if I can still follow along what you're saying, then it's a good video. That's what I do. It takes a little bit of time, but
hey, takes care.
Yeah, works.
That's actually a good piece of advice to end on. Do that, motherfuckers. So I'll have your description and stuff I'll have your details in my description. But for people who are listening while driving, how can they reach you?
Lavolife, LAVOELIFE. And that's social media, Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, website, everything. So
wicked. Thanks, bro. And guys, make sure to subscribe, just because. Otherwise, it makes you a better lover. Okay, bye.
All right, thank you guys.